a Stormblade
And
Warcaster, in fact.
we are live on Darker Days Radio on Twitch playing Iron Kingdoms. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Mike, can you confirm I'm coming through okay on the Twitch? Nice and clear, not like when I was doing Vermintide.
Mike, you're muted.
Oh yeah, you sound good.
Good, excellent, because that was weird on... I don't know what was going on that day. Right, so yes, welcome to Dark Days Radio on Twitch. I am one of the regular hosts of Dark Days Radio. I'm Chris. I am joined by Mike, who is also a long-term host of Dark Days Radio. If you're not aware of what we do horror RPG reviews, interviews, original content and stuff on the Storyteller's Vault. And we are joined by some other players for this game of Iron Kingdoms. This is the second edition of Iron Kingdoms, the one that's based upon the original rule set by Privateer Press, based off the war games War Machine and Hordes. We are not playing a D&D based game, nor are we playing the 5th edition version, which has recently been on Kickstarter. So just for clarity, all these books of course are available on Drive-Thru RPG, and I'm sure you can find them on eBay and other reputable sources. And of course we are joined by some other players which you may or may not know of. We're joined by Ben. Ben, you will have met already playing in our Warhammer Fantasy roleplay game over on Gehenna Gaming's Twitch. We are joined by Chris, and we are joined by John. So Chris and John, do you want to just give us a brief introduction to who you are?
Okay, I'll go first, I guess. I am Chris Allen. Some of you may have seen me or heard me on some Darker Days podcasts before when I have been interviewed by Chris on mostly stuff for Onyx Path. I'm a developer at Onyx Path, the Aberrant RPG developer and writer on various lines there. And that's it, really. That's my claim to fame. I haven't got much else special about me. Solemn Veil, yes, Solemn Veil, which is just in Kickstarter at the moment, which is a British folk horror RPG. I worked for Mongoose Publishing back in the day as well. And a preemptive apology from me. At times when I'm speaking, you may start hearing the sound of goblins wailing in the background, because I do have 2 small children and they are quite noisy and not in bed yet. So hopefully they won't be too intrusive.
Brilliant. And John?
Hi, I'm John Kennedy. I am a game designer and writer. I've worked with Modifius Entertainment and for Onyx Path. I've worked primarily on the Star Trek Adventures line for the last couple of years, and I've been a huge fan of Iron Kingdom since basically the beginning, and I just love every iteration of it. So this is really exciting for me.
Yeah, I have a long history with Iron Kingdoms. I bought it when it first came out. I recently sold off all my models because, you needed space and they look like crap compared to what I paint these days. And because of preparing for this, I'm now thinking, a few small war groups again would be nice. Only small ones, not huge 50-point armies.
That Scorn battle box looks really good.
I know it does. And so back in the day when I worked in a Games Workshop part-time, we had a staff games night and we were playing War Machine there. Yeah, the things you do. But, it makes you appreciate other war games, like Games Workshop stuff right now. Yes, so we are playing Iron Kingdoms. We are the... I should really do a brief introduction. So, it is the year 602 after Rebellion, and the lands of West Imoran are divided into 4 major powers, the Iron Kingdoms, as they are called after the Corvus Treaties. It is the year 602 after Rebellion because there was a rebellion against the Orgoth occupation, a group of humans who were into all kinds of infernalism and dark arts that at one time came and dominated Western Imoran. They were driven off with the coming of magic that bestowed upon humanity the ability to control the magical energies, and part of this fight back also enabled humans to channel their magic into arcane mechanica, the fusing of machine and magic. And of course the most iconic element of the setting then, and iconic of what allowed them to repel the Orgoth and re-establish their control over their lands, are warjacks. So essentially giant mechanical steam-powered golems with a brain which is powered by magic. A rudimentary brain, obviously. Since then, of course, there have been many other things coming and going. We have the coming of the Crix Empire and Torok, who is this dragon that bestows necromantic energy into his minions, and so the Crix Empire is just off the Broken Coast on Western Amoran, who cause all kinds of havoc. There are, of course, many other factions. There are elves, there are dwarves, and there are some stranger things out in the wilderness, like the pigmen called the Pharaoh, the Gator Men, who are of the Blind Water congregation, and many others. There are Trollkin, there are Gobbers, and then there are the... well, they haven't arrived yet, so I'm not going to talk about them. I'm not going to talk about the Scorn. Right. So let's begin. We are playing also. If you want to follow along and you think you might want to run this stuff, we're playing through the prologue, Fool's Rush In, which you can download from Private Press, and we will be running the Immortality campaign. So if you think, oh, I actually like the system and I want to run this, you can obviously buy all this. There will be some original content put in here and there. But with that introduction done, as a brief overview, we can jump in. So, as I said, it is the very start of the year 602 AR, and we are in the city of Corvus, the city of ghosts. It is sits upon a confluence of rivers, and it is kind of like it's been described when I've talked to people like Simon Berman and so forth, who used to work at Private Press. Imagine Venice meets Seattle. It's always raining. It's on top of some canals that bridge off from the rivers. It is highly gothic in its nature. It has a throng of humanity and other races. It is a centre for trade and a centre for innovation and industry, as it is on the very northern border of the kingdom of Signar, just before you get to the Thornwood, and thus towards the kingdoms of Ord, Lael, and Cador to the north. And obviously technology and ways to think about this, it is kind of like on the cusp of an industrial revolution. So there are still elements which will be recognisable from typical fantasy tropes like knights and monks and holy orders like that. But we're kind of at that time period of like the golden age of piracy and Napoleonic warfare. So not only do we have knights in armor and on shields and on with shields and on horses, we also have warriors armed with repeating rifles, and everyone's got handguns, and there is alchemy and magic, of course, to make things even more crazy. Warjacks roam about. They are used by their controllers either as elements within warfare, or they are used for manual labour as they are loading things on and off the docks in Corvus. So within Corvus, or within this city, we have a band of characters, and we're going to get in this kind of session 0. We're going to just understand a little bit more about the system first and how these characters have been built, and then we're going to get into a first kind of episode, as it were. So who wants to jump in with their character first and tell me a bit about them?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. So I am playing as Lord Zacharias Zinfandel, who is a noble and also secretly a spy from the nation of Lael. And I'm sure he's got some small barony or something, but he mostly resides in Corvus, which I believe is in the nation of Signar.
Yeah.
Doing investigations, hanging out with some of the many aristocrats that travel through town, and also doing a little bit of spying because his nation has been under constant threat from the Cador Empire.
Indeed. And so you're playing a human, but obviously you are coming from a particular kingdom, so that gives some character to what you're doing. And even within the kingdoms, humans there are more regional groups of humans. So in other words, it's like saying the difference between someone that comes from London and someone that comes from Yorkshire. It has that kind of characterization of people in these kingdoms is included in the setting. So characters have a few stats. They have a physical attribute, a speed attribute, a strength attribute. They have an agility attribute, prowess, poise. Those two are used in combat for whether you're hitting someone or shooting someone, typically. There's intelligence. perception, and then there's also arcane, which either you have it or you don't, because it's basically, are you a magic user or are you not? So Mike, your character is not a magic user then?
Nope.
No, because but what is your character? Because not only are they human, they are an archetype. So what archetype are they?
Oh yeah, that's right. I picked the intellectual archetype.
Okay, and so this means you get some benefits to their intelligence, and I think, or you get you get battlefield coordination, so you can basically coordinate people, and they get a bonus. And you've got a feat called flawless timing, which means you can spend a feat point and do something before the enemy gets a chance. Or no, actually, there's loads of feats you can pick up. That's the thing. So in the game, not only is there a choice of race, there's a choice of archetype that opens up a few options. Oh, wait up, what's happened here? I thought I logged in. This meeting will end in 10 minutes. Upgrade now to remove. That's weird. Why is it doing? Bear with me.
It's all gone awry.
It's all gone awry. Why is our meeting like that? Am I not?
Have you logged in with your personal rather than your professional?
I should be logged in. I am on.
I see counting down at the top. This could be
Give
a
us a
short
moment.
game.
We're going to go on a very quick break to sort out this. Hold on. I'm just going to go back to a break. Now, and we're back. Hey, yeah.
Woo!
Hurrah.
Woohoo! That was really stupid. Okay, so what we were saying. So yeah, there's a bunch of stats. You're an intellectual archetype, and there are some other archetypes in there. What else then, Mike, is there to be said about your character? We were saying they've got a choice of careers. So in this game, much like Warhammer, you pick careers. So how you progress with your character is not just based upon a single race or a single archetype, there's careers. So what careers are you then, Mike?
So Zacharias has the aristocrat career and the spy career,
Excellent.
which are pretty cool. Gives the character a lot of social bonuses as well as some kind of stealthy and disguise based bonuses.
Okay, and essentially then what this means that you derive a whole extra things from your stats, which end up being like things like defense and armor, and there are skill ratings which will combine with a attribute rating, and that will give you a base value. And generally, whenever anything needs to happen in the game, we're going to be rolling 2d6, adding an attribute plus skill, so a rating. That could be a ranged attack rating, or a melee attack rating, or a skill rating. And if it's greater than a target number, hurrah, you've succeeded. If it's greater than certain levels, then that might mean you get more information and so forth. So then, Mike, what more is there to say about your character? You said that they're a spy and aristocrat. Are they specialising in a few particular things?
No, not really. I guess so. So Zacharias is it's not really a fighter, more of a kind of a sneaky person, and has a lot of like cool gadgets and stuff to help them out with their spy work. So, I think that's kind of a cool feature to him. And I just have a bunch of like different feats and stuff, which I'm sure will kind of organically be explained through the game.
Is he good with a sword or a pistol, or what's his fighting style? Just
has a sword, has a poisoner's dagger, but has no poison because it's too expensive.
Too expensive.
Yeah, I don't think I have any poison. I'll check that later.
Brilliant.
Because I guess combat does come up. For the time being, Zacharias would be more of a kind of a frontline, probably backstabbing kind of type character.
Excellent. Right, Ben, you're playing something though quite different. You're playing a Trollkin. Tell us more about your Trollkin.
So I'm playing Fragate Bragg. Fragate Bragg is an ex-military officer pugilist. So having left the Signar military, Bragg has fallen in with the rougher elements of society, and now makes his living beating other people to bloody pulps. So Bragg is the muscle of the group, specializing very much in his fists, though he is also quite canny when it comes to the battlefield and knowing where to put his allies or where to get them out of. He's a no-nonsense, cigar-chewing, whiskey-swilling, bowler hat-wearing Trollkin with the mean attitude to back it up.
And you are then... What archetype are you playing then for this?
So I'm a military officer pugilist playing the mighty archetype, which means I do extra damage when I hit things.
You've also got you also start off with a free feat, don't you, as well? Because you're mighty, you're tough, and also you have revitalize, which basically represents the regenerative abilities of Trollkin.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. So you're kind of the frontline boxer.
I am the wall.
Yep. Excellent. And Chris, what are you playing?
Well, I am playing Allender Finch, who is an Arcanist / Thamar Advocate. The gifted archetype, you have to be, if you want to have any magic, you have to have gifted, so that's what I've got, which is an interesting way of sort of balancing some of the magical stuff against other archetypes and things, is that, obviously you get a lot of flexibility through magic, a lot of power, but at the same time you're giving up a lot of the good benefits you get from the other archetypes in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So Arcanist is your fairly straightforward, standard, very focused spellcaster. Doesn't have the thematics of the elemental thematics of stuff like sorcerer, and it's really quite a narrow skill selection. It doesn't give you any military skills to start with. It's all about chucking spells about as much as you can and being able to sustain as many spells as you can. And so Arcanist really gets a lot of its flavor from the career you prepare it with. Yeah, Thamar Advocate. So for people who don't know, Thamar is there's two particular humanity has sort of three gods. There's two particular ones relevant to Signar, which is Morrow, the god of society and good and shiny things and nice things and puppies and valor and honor, and Thamar, who is the bad one. The Dark Twin, the very evil god of evil people, or the god of freedom from tyranny, opposing oppression, and thinking for yourself, depending on who you ask. So Allender would, of course, very tactfully say, well, you'd have to ask a Thamorite if you wanted to know more about that, wouldn't you? Because it's not generally looked very kindly on. I think he's probably going to be quite cagey about how much he tells people about that, because it is walking the line a little bit. It's an interesting class. It's a kind of, I guess it's a kind of rogue slash spellcaster mix, in terms of it's got a lot of sneaky, like clever skills, and it's got a lot of weird spells that push around at the fringes of what normal magic gets to do. You can make him into a massive necromancer as well if you want, but I'm not really planning to go down that route.
Cool. That's pretty wicked. And yeah, I mean, Thamar is an interesting path because it offers some interesting insight into the darker elements of the setting. In particular, how you even consider things like necromancy and infernalism. But anyway, that's totally fun. That means you're spellcasting with some pretty crazy stuff. And then finally, John, what are you playing?
I am playing Cato O'Reilly, and I'm an Ordic gun mage who was trained in Signar, and then went back and served in the Ordic Navy for a couple years, and now he's employed by the Order of the Golden Crucible to dig through ruins, to seek out lost trinkets, and give them to the Golden Crucible. He is very much an adventurer. He is doing what he loves best, which is going into places he shouldn't, finding lost things, and then he's the kind of guy who in the middle of a gunfight will be like, we're in the middle of an Orgoth ruin. This is pretty rare, right? And
stop shooting it.
Belongs in a museum.
I am playing a gifted character as well, and a gun mage in the setting. Focuses all their magic through a gun called a mage lock, and I'm able to do a lot of really crazy trick shots, but I can also focus spells into the bullets. And some of the spells that I have right now, I have the Thunder Shock, which I can move people around the battlefield, and if I crit, knock them down. Brutal, which is just helpful if I need to crack something's armor. And then Black Penny, which makes it easier for me to shoot in a combat because I don't want to hit my friends. It's happened in other games. It's usually a bad time for both of us. And my other profession that I chose was Explorer, which just totally fits with Cato, who just... He could be happy not seeing people for days as long as it meant exploring some old ruin.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, you've hit on another really important part of this setting, which is gun mages. Gun mages are the coolest thing of Iron Kingdoms, in my opinion. They, as I said, they channel magic through rune engraved bullets. It's kind of like a very ancient kind of... It is not ancient, but it's an old kind of master, student kind of relationship. But there are also some militarized schools. So there is the Order of the... what is it called? I can't remember. The Order of the Arcane Tempest, which is the Signar school. And then there's the Order of the Amethyst Rose, which is the Lealese school of gun mage. Brilliant. So with that introduction done, what more do we need to say about the group? They're an adventuring company, so this is a feature of the game as well, and things I like in, say, Wrath and Glory again. It's effectively what we also call a framework or a group template. So by choosing this, it's meant that the characters have been limited in what options could be taken. That means, you can't... You guys had a limit on what careers you could take. You had a limit on certain things. But on the upside, because you are intrepid investigators, That means the requirement is that all of you have either alchemist, arcane mechanic, arcanist, aristocrat, explorer, investigator, military officer, priest, or spy as one of your careers. And the benefit is that the company is able to seek funding for its activities through support from a major university, financial backers, or private donations. That means each month you essentially get a stipend, or the company gets a stipend of 100 gold crowns, which is basically represented by the fact that you're picking up odds and sods business like finding someone's missing brother or something like that. Also, each character created as a member of the company can benefit from the starting intellectual archetype bonus, +1 on all attack and damage rolls while in an intellectual character's command range, which is very important. So that's cool. That works really well with all the character types. So, is there anything else that we should elaborate on the characters, or are we quite happy with what we've divulged so far?
Yeah.
Yep, sounds good.
Excellent. So I think we're ready to begin. So as I said, we're in the city of Corvus, and it is early in the year. Winter has not ended quite yet, and so the city is being hit by another winter storm of sleet and rain. It's very cold outside, and so I imagine that it's quite possible that you lot are all likely at some respectable, maybe not, inn, bar, pub, whatever you think is works for your group. Likely because it's the best place that you normally pick up the smaller jobs when people come to you knowing that you might be there and they need your expertise.
It's the end of the month. We need to make rent.
Yeah, whereas like I'm sure you do keep a small office somewhere, like a small up in the a small office in a building a couple of floors up. But yes, you're likely in some bar. So what are you doing? What give us a sense of what your characters look like and what they may be conversing about and their attitudes, really.
My character will probably be like playing cards with probably Braggett over there. I don't know if he plays cards. You probably do because you were in the military, right?
Yeah. Bragg plays cards. Not well, but he plays them.
Yeah.
That's probably what we're doing just as we're sitting there. And then next to my cards, I've probably got like a journal where I've got just swirls of notes. Nothing like illicit, nothing illegal, really just random, and really just like him trying to formulate some theory about where to go next.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yes.
Finch is probably going to be participating in the cards as well. No reason not to.
I think we're all playing cards.
He's probably he's probably better than Bragg by the sound of it, but doesn't play to the best of his ability because it's not really what playing cards with your mate, your co-workers, as it were, on the table is about. Best not to end up winning too many hands. The pugilist might decide to take issue with it, and then nursing a small drink of some spirit of some sort, something fairly flavorful that he's not exactly racing through. He's not here to get drunk. You know?
Oh yeah, there is likely, you likely have a you're possibly sharing a bottle of Audit whiskey. Audit whiskey is something in the setting as well as I've
Sounds
shown
good.
everyone's. There's I guess Fragget is chomping on a massive cigar.
Huge Trollkin cigar that just stinks, of sort of noxious, poisonous fumes, because Trollkin have a fantastic habit of turning something that is poisonous to every other race into a specialty item of theirs. But yeah, in grousing, like a true soldier, grousing, complaining about the weather, about the cold, about the socks, whole 9 yards.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I think Zacharias had been playing cards until our Trollkin friend started eating and drinking disgusting things, and decided to step away and is maybe reading a novel while sipping some wine at the bar.
You know your problem, Zacharias. You're soft.
Believe it
Yeah,
or not,
I
the
am.
worst thing I've smelled.
You
Excellent.
could stand to be a bit closer. It would toughen you up, improve the lungs. Just let out a long stream straight towards him at the bar.
Oh, Zacharias will pull out a handkerchief and put it over his nose. A perfumed handkerchief.
Oh, and of course, yes, this bar is home to many of the. There are dock workers who come here to spend their coin on drink. There are various merchants and mechanics as well that come here. It's a fairly well-to-do place. I mean, you guys aren't like, you're not poor. You do get paid well for your work when you do get it. And yes, you know, your drinks are refilled by the barman that comes over here. It's your regular table. You've mostly got a tab running which you haven't quite paid off.
And never will.
And never will. Yeah. There's you know, it's a lot of fun. There's also like a game of dice going on in the corner of one of the of the bar, and every time the door opens, there's a gust of like cold air comes in, which is barely kept at bay by the roaring fire at the other end of the room. Yes, but you know, it gives you a sense. I mean, essentially, if you've watched enough Sharp, you get an idea of what this setting is like. There's some military in there. There's members of like the City Watch. There's members of the Corvus Regiment. But of course, your game is eventually interrupted as a messenger wearing the livery of the Corvus City Watch comes into the bar and heads directly to your table. Sirs, I've come on the request of Lieutenant Morton Rourke. He has an urgent missive for you. Rourke, you've known of. You've come in. You've not worked with per se, but you've had a. You've met him, and because you know you've investigated some murders or some thefts which the City Watch hasn't quite had the time to investigate themselves, and so you've been hired onto those jobs to make up for the manpower. I can take you to Lieutenant Rourke. He is currently in the guard tower near here. He said it was a matter of most urgency, and you know, it's simply that you know, as it says, you're wanted for an important matter that must be investigated with some tact and diligence. And
tact and diligence.
Yeah, and that you will be paid appropriately for your work.
Sit down, boy. You've not found us for another 5 minutes. It's cold out. Listen, you're on duty. You know we're somewhere in the area, but you've not found us yet. This gives you time to dry your feet by the fire.
But Master Bragg said we should leave as soon as possible the moment I found you.
Ah, balls, he's a straight edge. Come on then, lads.
Now.
But
He's about to lose his hand. I'd really like to get my money from him.
It's out of my hands. It's important. Come on.
I'll push my drink across to the messenger and then calmly put the cards away with a slight sort of.
The messenger looks around and takes the small tumbler, takes the shot glass of whiskey and downs it, given that it warms his chilled bones. Thank you. What's the last name of your character again, Chris?
Finch. His surname is Finch.
Yeah, that's it.
Of the Finches, known for their canneries.
Thank you, Master Finch. A fine whiskey you picked out this evening.
You don't need to lay it on thick. Just enjoy something that's a cut above your usual rations.
Indeed, indeed. And so I guess you're going to finish up your game?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
Seems that way.
it can wait. They're not going to get any more dead.
And he, follows you out from the pub. And, the pub obviously has nice leaded windows, and stained glass in there. Again, this looks like quite a few pubs I've mostly been to in the UK. It gives you that kind of sense. Very dark wood and people with their dogs talking about what it's like to be working a hard day. And, of course, outside there is, everywhere around, buildings are at least 3 stories tall, if not taller, with very dark grey stone, at least at the base. Some are fully stone. You're only a few blocks from the waterfront, and yes, it is cold out there. You can't really see the sun.
Just turn my collar up.
Crowd moving around. You can hear the cries of the fishmongers nearby and the hammering of hammers upon nails of the shipwrights in their district that goes on through the night even. You can also hear, or you actually do see stomping past you, a labourjack carrying a box of a very large crate of goods. It's smokestack, blasting out plumes of black, black air, black fumes, and yes, it's a huge behemoth of a thing. And even as it passes you, you feel the heat coming from its grill as it just kind of looks at you momentarily with the kind of dull sense of a cow or some other simple creature, thinking, "Yes, carry." But you have that sense of what it's saying, or thinking to itself. The messenger looks around. We should leave before it gets any busier here. It is a market day after all. So what's everyone wearing? What's their attire like? What is their how well shaved are they or not shaved? Yeah, go
Well,
on.
Bragg is wearing his sort of iconic bowler hat. He's kitted out sort of below in a thick, very thick and very sort of long jacket that sort of clanks and clatters as it moves slightly, belying the sort of the blast armor that is contained within. He's sort of dressed in sort of not poor clothes, but like a working man's clothes. So he doesn't appear to be the sort of same financial bracket as the others, perhaps by intent, because it's easier for a troll to go around looking like a worker than it is for a troll to go around looking like a lord. And Bragg owns that. He's wearing sort of tartan trousers of his clan, but no footwear because trolls don't wear shoes, and sort of a basic labourer shirt and waistcoat underneath.
You're basically almost about somewhere around about 7 foot tall as well, right?
Just a bit over it, yeah. And sort of heavy and wide with it as well. He's very much the sort of the muscle mass that doesn't leave you thin or lean. It leaves you round and very much set with it.
Excellent. And what's Finch kind of dressed in?
So Finch is wearing the kind of clothes I'm thinking of. They're generally quite dark, which works quite well in Corvus. But it's the kind of dark that's a little bit stylish, proper black rather than just kind of grimy.
Not that dark,
but
not that dark kind of blue. Actual black.
Yeah. He's wearing clothes that suggest a bit of a wealthier background, without really trying to overly flaunt it. So they're quite well made rather than being designed. They're well tailored rather than being designed to show off, because the kind of parts of the community is moving through a lot. He wants something a bit more practical for that. So yeah, sort of presumably, I imagine a waistcoat, and various layers in a city like Corvus. I imagine you have quite a few layers to deal with the miserable damp in this kind of time of year as well, and the smells and the stench. Heavy greatcoat over the top to fend off the worst of the elements. But overall, quite a sort of understated kind of assemble. Not trying to look lower class, but just not like trying to show off the money that's gone into the creation of it. I think he's got a cane with him, which is his sword cane, because he's keeping that to hand. And he definitely does not have anything like a samurai art, holy symbol or anything like that about his person ever, because that would be dumb. He doesn't in any way advertise that allegiance. So looks like a reasonable, a middle-class mercantile family person. You might see being the manager of some place in Corvus. Well, like a cannery, but the kind of people you see in charge of a lot of these places. I think he's quite gaunt, though. He doesn't look like he's living the good life. He looks a bit more like sharp-edged around the face. Probably one too many nights at university, staying up too late, feverishly looking over books that he shouldn't be.
He's an accountant.
He does look more like something like that than anything. Yeah, because it's a good way to look if you don't want to draw too much attention.
No, that's great. I mean, it's very we've got that kind of Napoleonic kind of Victorian kind of theme in there. With some classic kind of medieval fantasy or Renaissance fantasy kind of anachronisms in there as well. Whereas I'm sure Kato is quite different to that again.
Kato has on like a big sea green greatcoat. There's just remnants from when he was serving in the Ordic Navy, and underneath that you see just a bizarre looking like leather armor. People who are like in the know recognize it as something like an alchemist would wear, although Kato is by far not an alchemist because he doesn't have any like strange vials about his person. But he's got like the tall boots, and he's got like the fingerless gloves on his hands, and he's not exactly clean shaven. He has the look of the guy who likes to play cards at night, but then could go and like sleep in the field or even sleep in like a barn. Very, very much not like a ne'er-do-well, but at the same time, someone who you would not be surprised to wake him up with a bucket of water in the morning and be like, "You get out of here!" It's like, "Oh yeah, I'll get out."
Are you wearing a hat?
No hat, and he's got bright red hair.
Oh, excellent, brilliant.
He does have on his waist a gas mask, which is part of the armor. Excellent,
that's wicked. And our Leolese friend.
Yeah, so you're all a bunch of peasants, and Zacharias Zinfandel looks...
Slumming it comes to mind already.
Yeah, indeed. Zacharias Zinfandel just stands out, as opposed to Allender Finch, trying to not stand out. Zacharias has a white coat on with gold embroidery. He also has.
Does it stay white for long?
Yes. He's run up quite a tab at the dry cleaner in town, and indeed has it's also accentuated with I guess kind of a white wine sort of coloration and for like his waistcoat and such. So he has that, and I would also probably say, keeping with the Italian and French vibe of the Leolese, probably has a clean-shaven and powdered face at the moment.
Excellent.
Because he's in full noble mode at the moment.
About facial hair, and like Alan has got quite dark, very dark, almost black hair. Green eyes. He's, I think the area I was looking at the ethnicities. There's the Midlanders in the north of Signar, but then there's the Thurians as well up there. So he's probably a mix of those because the Thurians apparently have a lot of magic and all that. But he's quite carefully shaven. It's fairly minimalistic. He's got a bit of beard and moustache, but it's all quite cleanly done, rather than being let run riot or anything.
Excellent.
Unlike me.
Yeah, just to say, if trolls could grow a beard, I'm sure he'd have one. But unfortunately, Bragg just has the plates on his jaw.
Great. With that, then you saunter off following this, following the member of the Corvus City Watch, this messenger, and he leads you through the crowds, as I say, past workshops and merchants. You go past a baker's, which for a moment is a nice different scent to the filth of the rivers and the smell and the smog. And eventually you reach one of the City Watch towers, which Lieutenant Rourke is based in. And again, the watchtower is like 3 stories tall, of this grey stone topped with parapet, and upon that are cannons that look out over the city walls. It seems very old and ancient in some respects, because Corvus is built on an old Orgoth city. Fun fact, Corvus also is constantly sinking into the mud. Because the water is constantly eroding the foundations of the city, which means buildings eventually are built on top, and it all sinks down. But that also means the sewers are also a catacomb of ancient buildings that have been forgotten and collapsed in on each other and so forth. It's a bit crazy. But yes, you approach the main doors of this watchtower, and you are led in. And on the bottom level, there is a number of Corvus City Watch Guard who are, having a break from their work. Again, sat there most probably playing some simple game of cards. There's a small kitchenette area where they're brewing some tea, and you are led upstairs and to a chamber which has an iron-studded door, and the messenger knocks upon it, and you hear a shout from inside to enter, and the door creaks open, and sat there with his feet resting on the table, reading a small book, mostly some kind of the equivalent of like some penny dreadfuls or something in this world, is Lieutenant Rourke. He's got weathered features. He's a bit craggy and older than you. His hair is slicked back, and again he's wearing the livery of the City Watch, but he has a nice cloak on over it, and other paraphernalia that makes his armor look more well kept and maintained. Rourke, gets his boots off the table and stands up. Gentlemen, please, you are Mr. Finch. This is your investigative company, correct? You are
Yes,
detectives.
good evening, officer. That is, I think, correct. I certainly hope so.
Yes, I've heard good things. We've my superiors have been satisfied with your work elsewhere in the city previously, and so that is why I called for you. I have a matter of some urgency that must be dealt with. Boy, you can go now. First, though, bring them... You care for tea or coffee? I cannot offer anything stronger, unfortunately. Otherwise, I could not trust the men with such a thing.
I'll take tea if it looks like it's going to be a long night.
Yes, 2 would be good.
Coffee.
He, has the messenger, disappear, and you wait there quietly until the steaming pot of water, 2 steaming pots of water, one with tea, one with coffee brewed up in it, and some simple clay kind of cups, and they're poured out for you. There's no milk, it's just tea and coffee. Right, you can go now. Please sit. The matter must be dealt with urgency, and as I said, must be dealt quietly. It is actually a
course.
matter that is more personal as well. So, I am paying you. My
I see.
my my family, my wife, my son, have been kidnapped. Just
Good
this
note,
evening, in
Scott.
fact.
By the gods.
Yes, indeed. Morrow bless us that they are still with us. For the kidnappers are not just simple thugs, and there are many thugs I have history with. There are many gangs that I'm sure that would wish for some retribution and vengeance upon me. No, this matter is darker. They have been kidnapped by Thamarites.
Amorites. Oh,
Finch is just very carefully taking his teacup and drinking, nodding very seriously.
The worst kind of scum.
Sounds
Indeed.
awful.
I've heard the stories.
They have me in a over the barrel somewhat. They will only release them if they if I retrieve something for them. I say retrieve, I mean steal something for them. There is a alchemist in this city, a Jorvis Torm. He is in the industrial quarter. He has a small workshop. If I am to see my family again, this item must be retrieved from his workshop. I would, of course, do it myself if it was possible, but given the nature of who it is and other matters, the captain, Hellstrom, would possibly not look kindly upon this matter.
I should think not. Dealing with Thamarites. How'd you even get on the radar? Not
I
that
don't
radars
know.
exist in this setting.
How did you get on their map?
Yes.
Indeed.
I'm sure we have dealt with Thamarites before, and I'm sure Thamarites have been within the ranks of many of the gangs and smugglers we have put down in the past. So I'm
Are you
sure.
asking us to acquire this object, or are you asking us to try and find out where they have your family?
I think I am asking you to acquire the object. I cannot risk their death. And the only chance we have is perhaps with the object is by luring these cultists out into the open.
Have they
Uh-huh,
given
I
you
see.
any actual instructions as it might relate to?
Not as of yet. I've been told to contact them when I have information about where they can acquire, where we can meet to hand over this item. The cultists say that the item is in a reinforced lockbox marked miscellaneous surplus that Torm has. So it is quite simple. I'm simply asking you, go find Jorvis Torm, acquire this box, and I beg you, given that who we're dealing with and what likely they are, the type of things they're interested in, if it is such a secure box, I think it would be prudent not to open it.
So they haven't told you what they actually want.
No, they simply just said this lockbox that is labelled this. They're aware of what Jorvis deals with, apparently, or has acquired.
Yes, well, Rourke, please understand.
I will pay.
There's some. I'm sure you will for our services. We have to be very careful. We have a reputation, and we can't be known to be dealing with Thamarites. If word got out about such a thing, it would be devastating, especially to me in the high society.
I
Now,
understand.
we are, I think, all four of us, in agreement that we must help you. This is a dreadful situation that you're in. However, we need to be quite careful. I agree that we need to lure them out, and we need to capture them. That's the only way that we can find out where your family is, and we can also restore potentially your reputation. We don't want it to get out that you have had such dealings with Thamarites, even in such a dire circumstance. Would everyone else agree with that?
Yes, although I am certainly quite happy to stamp down on a cult like this acting in such an unacceptable and scandalous way. I don't think that'll do our reputation any damage. Although it's a good point referring to Mr. Rourke here. I would say, officer, you're asking us to acquire this object. I would not want to be mistaken for a common thief.
Nor will you. I will ensure that this. I understand that we are certainly skirting the limits of what is considered legal and above board within this city.
Perhaps we could keep this all quite legal, Rourke. Here's my idea, and I'm putting this out to everyone, and we can discuss this and see if it's a route we want to take. But I would recommend that we approach this alchemist and we simply ask him for the box. We don't need the contents of the box. These Thamarites, they just want to see that we have this lockbox, and it's such a label. We can fill it with rocks or something else. Lure them out with no a risk of them acquiring this alchemical item, this reagent or whatever, and then we can take them. Then we can find your family. We can save them.
One small potential flaw I can see in that plan.
Yes.
The alchemist could be in on it.
So Bragg does have a point. He could be in on it, or he could be... Whatever's in that box could be something he doesn't want any attention brought to by anybody if Thamarites are willing to go to the lengths to do it.
In that regard, it's clearly already slipped out. Now, I know how alchemists are with one another. They're always one-upping. There's always that little bit of, antagonization. But whatever's inside this box is already known, because otherwise they wouldn't be after it. The thing that I'm seeing is whether or not this alchemist is in on it and trying to play some game that we aren't aware of.
Yes.
And then by going to him, we tip our hands. Now, what we can do, sir, is one of the things that we are best at is check on the streets and see what's being said.
Yes. My Trollkin friend makes a wonderful point here. If this alchemist has an object that Thamarites desire, clearly it's something dreadful and of grave concern to the city.
The detail I think that may be worth noting is he has something that the Thamarites desire that they are willing to blackmail an officer of the law to acquire, rather than simply break in and take themselves.
Because it would allow them a degree of... It would make it much easier for them. By some means, I'm sure, it would mean that they wouldn't so easily be playing their hand, revealing their organization or who within their cult actually exists.
Also, it means they've got something over you in the future.
Indeed, we want to avoid that.
They have said that if I do not get them this item within the next 2 hours, my family are forfeit.
2 hours.
That's not a lot of time at all.
It is not.
All right.
And
well, I'm going to go kick some lats and find out what I can find out.
Of course, I can, not only can I pay you, I can certainly, I have some leverage over what bounties and work is, given over to the investigative operations within the city. I could ensure that paperwork is such that your company would always be at the top of the pecking order in the future.
I think I speak for everyone, sir, when even when it's not very beneficial for us to undergo, which clearly it is, we would be interested in stymieing this cult simply for the fact that it's this cult. But with all due respect, every moment we sit here is minutes of your family's
Indeed,
life.
it is. In fact, and he opens up his pocket watch. It is more like 1 hour and 45 minutes remaining.
Right, well, I'm going.
Yes. One last note before I do depart. I can assume we will have the Corporation of the Watch in the area.
Oh yes, they will not be. They have already been told not to get involved in matters, unless otherwise
Excellent.
ordered to.
Perfect.
Well then, gentlemen, shall we?
Indeed, we shall.
Excellent. You have the address of Torm, and one of the other things of note that you would have been told is that Torm is not a member of the Order of the Golden Crucible. He is an independent alchemist. And his operation is across the river, across the Black River in the industrial neighbourhood, just north of the bridge.
Oh, just one thing before we go. Can we have the note or whatever was delivered to you with like proof that they've got your family and stuff like that? It'll be very helpful for us.
He hands you over that note.
Look at the note. Is anything out of the ordinary with it?
That's why I got it. Smart people, do your things.
You can try and make a. I guess it would be. What would it be? I would say an investigation role of some sort. It's not going to be gambling. It's not going to be. I mean, there's forensic science. That's always a good skill. There is also simple. Let's see. I'm trying to think. It's not research. It's not streetwise, not seduction. I'm just going through all the list of skills that we've got
Well,
here.
John, do you have anything on your character sheet that it sounds like it would be applicable to this
I have
search?
detection for trying to detect if there's anything out of the ordinary. And then I just have like survival and navigation, and then I could probably try to intimidate the letter, but that's not going to tell us anything.
No,
If
it would-
intimidation could solve this, my friend.
it's gonna have to be forensic science, which obviously, if you don't have any, if you don't have anything in there, if you're untrained in that, some skills you can do, with you can perform it if you're untrained. So you can do. You can't. Oh, right. So yeah, you can't do forensic science if you're not trained in it. So yeah, you can look at it if you've got forgery. You may think forgery might be kind of useful, just to look at how it's been written, if there's anything strange that way. So I think forgery is the best bet.
Sadly, I've not yet mastered the art of forgery.
Or, or forensic science.
No, I don't think any of us get access to
I
it.
think it's forensic science as a skill is limited to the investigator class.
And that's it, yeah.
That's it, character gen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is it looks like a letter that's been written that says we have your we have your family.
Finch, I don't suppose you recognise the handwriting, do you?
Well, give it here and I'll have a look. And I'll have a close look. Does it look like anything I would recognise? Style? Level of competency at writing?
There's quite a few typos.
Is it but is it written like, give us the thing or your family is dead, or is it like in flowing handwriting script?
Oh, it's not like good script, but it is handwritten in that manner.
Looks more like the work of a vaguely competent thug, I'd say. Hardly what you'd expect from the dark conspirators of the sinister twin to Mount Morrow, I have to say. As far as I can tell, the only proof we have they're even Thamarites is their say-so. They may be doing this for clout, to push the officer into doing what they want out of fear that they are more than they seem. They may also be a Thamarite cult and not be very competent. It's hardly rare.
It's a dangerous play, because once people realize that you're a Thamarite, they'll just...
It's a
go
very
after you.
dangerous play, yes. But
Can I just say what maybe some of us are thinking, or what at least I'm thinking? Once they get the thing, they'll probably either kill his family or they'll kill him. I mean,
Oh, they're gonna do both.
yes.
Yeah, no doubt. kill the watch commander, or kill his family, tell him that they've got his family, and keep him on the loop for, future blackmail. And
Yes, what
if
one
you
of the
don't
two,
obey,
certainly.
yeah,
The fact he will have done this once is a lever for the future. We do it
exactly.
again, or we will tell people how you worked with us. Definite Famorites.
GM, can I sell a streetwise skill check here? Try and sort of in Bragg's brain begin running down the likely places that a cult like this could operate without attracting a lot of attention, because any sort of activity when it's a gang is going to attract the attention of the other gangs that already exist there, and so large numbers of people coming at weird times of night is going to get the likely lads' attention, especially if they've moved into an area and had to deal with the local gang there.
Or even just knowing the right people to ask, because if
Yeah,
there's like an outward Famorite gang, everyone else is presumably going to be like, "Whoa!"
yeah.
Doing
Don't
that
fuck
is
with them.
going to obviously take time. You'll be asking
Oh,
around
yeah.
streets for a while. That
But
could take a whole hour up.
That's fine. We're all
I
gonna split up.
am not stealthy, and I don't do the sort of talky to other people very well. But one
Oh.
thing I am pretty good at is leaning on people and finding out information.
Well,
Um,
well, how about this? Zacharias can accompany Fraggot, but in disguise.
Who is this mysterious man, and where did he come from?
Indeed, is there a convenient telegraph box nearby where I can step in and then step out in a different disguise?
it's all right. It's all right. And I just like open up my my greatcoat. Just like,
Like a tent.
go on, go on. It's all right. I'll look away.
All right, I'm going to
Personal
make a
Trollkin changing room.
I'm going to make a disguise roll, and I am not going to disguise myself as my typical forged identity, because that is a lawyer. So that's probably still too fancy. So I'm just gonna find
Some
some,
kind of devilish
rags.
outfit
Probably
your
got some
lawyer's
rags somewhere, and just seem like a shifty vagabond.
Not enough mud.
So this lawyer is going to look like some kind of devil that might dare to walk these streets.
Oh! I rolled a 12 on my 2 dice. So I think that's a crit because I rolled doubles.
That is a crit. So you've rolled. So you're trying to do disguise representing a specific. No, you're not doing that. Disguise.
Nope.
No, as a different
It's just
race,
general
different
disguise
gender,
as
no.
like as a vagabond. I have a total roll of 18.
Create an impromptu disguise taking 15 minutes to 1 hour. So that's target.
Jeez, an hour? Can we speed this up?
15
'Cause
minutes
it's a
to
crit?
1 hour. Yeah. So
I'm just
I'm
rubbing dirt on my face.
Yeah. Disguise target number is 2d6 plus int plus disguise's target number. What? Hold on. Let me just understand how disguise. When a character is
See
doing
through
a
it.
disguise roll, rather than making a disguise roll, a player should tell the games master his intelligence plus disguise level, and then the GM makes a roll. The games master then informs the player how confident he is in his created disguise to the best of his abilities. Doubtful.
Okay.
Okay.
I just
So-
wasted a crit, everyone. I wasted that
Oh.
crit. But my my disguise total is 6.
Okay, so rather than making disguise roll himself, a player should tell. Okay, and then the games master makes roll. The games master then informs the player how confident he is that he created a disguise. Okay, so you don't feel that confident with your disguise.
Yeah, so
it's very.
I mean, I did a
very
really
quick.
good job, but I'm still carrying around my fancy Laylee's dress sword, so that
Yeah.
probably makes me stand out a little bit, and it's gonna draw some attention.
Okay, once a disguise is created, characters observing the disguise character can detect the disguise with a perception plus detection roll against the target number of the disguise. So the okay, so it's right, okay, and then what's it say? Characters can also gain. Okay, well, I'll have to understand that as I get into it. It's a bit more involved. It's the first time anyone's done disguise rolls for me. That's why. But yeah, you dirty yourself up. You've got some rags, but you still got your dress sword there. You still smell of perfume. Your perfumed handkerchief.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That tracks.
Yeah,
Just get closer to Bragg for a while; it'll be fine.
your nails obviously look too clean, even though you've dirtied yourself up. They're still too well manicured and everything else.
Well, yeah, I can't dirty my nail. I can't get grime under the nails. It won't come out.
Yeah. Okay,
Also,
so
the teeth.
while
Got
these
too
two
many.
while these two are getting ready to wander the streets and ask some questions, maybe we should get eyes on Master Torm's residence then.
Yeah, I was going to go with you.
Excellent. So who is? So some of you are off chatting to doing whatever, and those of you heading to the alchemist. So yes, those of you heading to the alchemist, you quickly cross the bridge over to the Black River, and of course, as you cross the bridge, you can see many of you. The river is very wide, and there are many ships, many boats in the docks or ploughing up the river, and you have to make your way past numerous labourers who are humans, trollkin, and even gobbers who are being boisterous. They're already a bit rowdy, and there are also various several-ton labourjacks and trollkin in their number. Some are clearly mercenaries, some are, guardsmen. And eventually get to a few blocks of poorly lit cobblestone streets. So there is gas lighting. There are gas lamps along the streets, and you head down that way, and you're at the Corvus waterside industrial facilities and warehouses. There is the constant clanking and churning of machinery. There is the smell of, well, everything and anything that's been processed in this district. You turn a corner and you are on the street where Jorvis Tom's workshop would be. And the workshop is small. It's a modest-sized building that doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary of it, other than it would have once been a private home around which the large warehouses have sprung up over time. It's narrow and tall. There's a second story to it that cantilevers over the building's front door, and the windows are smudged out and darkened. Obviously, the brickwork and woodwork is stained with industrial waste, and outside, wearing the golden yellow livery of the Order of the Golden Crucible, are two guards in heavy armour and helms. Each has at their side a sword and their typical shield cannons. They are stood waiting at the front door.
Let's not walk down this street just yet, my friend. Let's take in the deep breath of the bracing air of an inland port, and let's not get too close to that just yet.
Cattle.
Yes, bracing. I thought he wasn't in with the Crucible.
That's what I thought. And so why are there two Crucible guards outside of his door? Either they're standing watch for someone who's gone into his store, or he might be trying to get into good graces with the Order.
Or whatever he's got in that box. You do a lot of work for the Crucible, don't you?
I do.
They haven't have said anything to you, have they?
Our relationship's really more, I bring them things, they pay me for it.
There could be a way to thread this particular needle there. Right, I'm going to suggest that we maybe just amble around and have a look at this as best we can from a few angles while we wait for the others to do what needs to be done. I don't much fancy going up and talking to them without Bragg at my back in case they get a little bit handsy with anyone they don't want around there.
Also, if there is someone else in there, it's just working theory. Would be good to see who it is as they leave.
Yes. Let's be circumspect then, shall we? So yeah, I guess Chris, we'll just go try and case the joint as best we can and kind of just see what does it look like, say, does it sound like someone's, flipping tables over inside and checking the place over? Are these guys just standing there in the stance of, oh fuck, we're gonna be here for hours, or are they going like, we are looking for trouble in case anyone thinks they're gonna go and this is a tense situation?
Yeah, you can do I think a detection roll.
Can I do that as well?
So that's that's based off your perception plus detection,
Okay.
and
So
that's
flat perception for me.
and that's just obviously representing that you're looking around trying to gain some insight.
Double six.
Wow.
17. Our rolls have been quite good so far. Yeah.
I only got a 14.
This means that combat is going to be
Oh yeah.
hell.
Pretty
I
poorly.
shall cast a spell upon you. Double one.
Okay. So hold on. Going back, Mike. What was your intelligence plus your disguise ranking?
6.
6. Okay. 6. Good. That's just so I've got that ready. Okay. So yes, as you walk down the street nonchalantly past the Crucible Guard, talking about, I don't know, you're mostly talking about maybe a play you saw or a book or something, just having casual conversation. And
That local sports team.
Yep. And as you are walking past, you do indeed hear what sounds like a door, like the clatter of glassware or a table or chair being moved around. Someone is searching in there for something.
When we eventually get to the end of the street where we are well out of their range, I will start going, shit, 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 shit. This is a problem we could do with the others here fairly promptly. If those people are looking for what we're looking for, this could all go sideways very quickly.
I agree. I'm going to get into just a good position to watch them. I've got a spyglass, so I can stay, farther back. And then we just have to hope that the others show up soon. And
I shall cast my eyes about to see if at this time of night there are any of the excess crop of youths in cities who are of the sorts in your classic Victorian era to maybe take a coin in order to run a message, go and find someone, run a message. Or something.
You can do that. You can give someone a shilling to run off and look for Fraggot.
Look for a really big fucking troll. He's called Fraggot Bragg. Quite a few people know about him because he's got big fucking fists. He knows how to use them. He'll probably be with someone else. Let's not talk too much about the other guy. I imagine Bragg. I imagine Bragg is the kind of guy who, because obviously Trollkin stand out anyway, and I imagine Bragg stands out even for Trollkin a bit. So if there is one of the local crop of
Bragg maintains sort of quite. He's got a fondness for young children, so he's one of those ones that despite being a hulking beast, as long as they're not trying to nick something from his pockets, they'll get like a coin or a treat or a sweet sort of thing. So Bragg is known on the streets by intention.
Then coin to a lad, say he's probably going to be in this kind of area based on wherever they said they were going to be starting. Tell them it's urgent, but don't come in fist swinging. We've got a situation, and basically send a lad running off, and then hang back with Kato to kind of keep an eye on whatever the hell's going on.
Meanwhile, then the others, you've been spending this time talking to members of the local gangmen and mobsters, going to local bars, and is that kind of what you were wanting to do?
Bars, or if not bars, then sort of the local gang sort of known territories, and sort of putting the feelers out into them about a new gang that's moved in, or have they heard of a gang that suddenly got wiped out. Basically a cult has to have a place to be doing it, and that always attracts attention, and the criminal underworld are the people that immediately note that because it affects their livelihood.
Okay. To do this, we'll require a streetwise roll.
Whoop. Okay. Well, it's not double 6, but it is double 4, so that's a total of 12.
Okay. Good. Okay, so you each character makes a perception roll. For each character. Mike, do you have a streetwise roll? No.
Definitely not.
You
It's
can't
not
reach
wise
out
to the
at all to shady people. You don't really know who to talk to in those circles.
No.
Right. So, Frank, you spend a good half hour almost like going, talking to local racketeers. You know some of those who kind of provide protection to some of the canneries or other smaller factories.
Yeah.
And while they they hear things, nothing like that sounds like cult like activity, nor even if there was, they wouldn't really talk about it to you because they're too scared of it.
Now, boys, you see you've made a mistake. You have fallen into the trap of thinking the threat that's over there is less worrisome than the threat that's right in front of you.
The guy that you're talking to, who wears like basically a blazer and leather gloves and a bowler hat, and again is smoking on a cigarette, is like, look, I ain't seen no goddamn Thamarites, and even if I had, you do understand the teaching of Thamarites is not something you would normally do, is like sell out another Thamrite. That's not what you do around these parts. I don't deal with Thamrites. I haven't seen no Thamrites, neither do I care about Thamrites. Plus, I know who you work for, and I saw what you did to those boys on the other side of the river when you busted their little trade ring. I'm not happy about that. I don't want to be on the other end of that. I thought we had an arrangement.
Here's what's going to happen, nice and simple. You can either be on my side or not.
I'm not on anyone's side. I'm not against you in this matter. I've not seen no Thamarite.
That's all you had to say, but then you started getting lippy, didn't you? And I'll lean into the intimidation.
Wow, okay.
So that's 3d6.
Let's see. Intimidation, is it contested? Target stat is plus intimidation. So it'll be a strength plus intimidation.
Yep.
Let me think. Basic.
Zacharias, the hapless witness.
Yep.
Okay, so you'll be up against a target number is 7.
Yeah, okay, so target number being 7 means that even without the roll, I couldn't have failed because my intimidation is 8.
Yeah, so hold on. Well, no, it's not a target number. Target stat plus intimidation is lower by 5 or more. What's your strength plus intimidation?
Strength plus intimidation is 8.
Okay, so yours is greater, or it's target stat is lower or more, but lower by 3 or more. So yeah, your target you need is a 15 in order to intimidate.
Yeah, so I got a 20.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Because I roll 3d6 for this.
Oh wow.
8.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh wow.
I have a hulking presence.
Yeah. You lean into him, and he suddenly realizes how tall you are.
Gonna ask you twice. I ain't even gonna ask you once. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. You're gonna tell me everything you've heard that might include a new gang or a new cult popping up. Otherwise, I'm gonna take this sack. Can you hear it? It's full of glass. I'm gonna put it over your face and I'm gonna rub it in your eyes.
And yeah, he kind of like, his lip quivering, the cigarette drops from his mouth, and he begins to explain what he's heard, like what he knows of, but nothing that comes to mind, nothing that is suggestive of Thamarites or cults or anything. Though it is useful information in future for you about who's doing dodgy deals somewhere, and gives you mostly a heads up on any future kind of bounties or investigations that you will be hired to deal with.
Right, good man. Now, in case you're having any hard feelings about this, here, have a nip. And I'll offer him the sort of the canteen of whiskey.
Wow. And of course, while you've been doing all this work and questioning and intimidating this poor gangster, a street urchin runs up to you and go, "Oi, Mister, you named Fragget?
I am.
You needed down here. You needed on this street. A friend of yours, named by what is it? Finch. Yeah, Finch.
Finch.
He needs you
All
right
right,
now.
then.
He said.
You've been paid.
Yeah, I've been paid. Well,
All right, good
he
lad.
said payment on finding you and payment again when I get you there, and you pay me.
An entrepreneur.
You're a bold one. You can have a coin. There you are, then. Get yourself something hot and warm. Come on, then.
Oh, excellent, sir. That'll pay for a lot of gin tonight for me. Yeah, he runs off, with so you can follow him all the way back to the docks, over the river, over the bridge. Meanwhile, you guys are still waiting there, and as you're waiting there, you there's still, the guards are still waiting outside this building. No one has come in or out of it, and there's suddenly the two guards are talking to each other. Almost of it, they seem like something's not quite right. One of them starts heading towards the door, ready to open it, and then there's an almighty explosion. The two guards are sent flying and are either dead or very seriously injured, and that building is not on fire, but whatever explosion has occurred in there has blasted out the windows. The roof has been taken off by some amount, and there are tiles clattering down around you, and smoke billowing up from within the wreck of that building.
Start booking it down the street towards the flaming, or the crumpling house. Not 100% sure that I have a plan for what to do when I get there, but I'm pretty sure that what we want was in there.
Yeah.
I am right at his side, and I'm putting on my gas mask, and I'm getting ready to run in there.
As you're getting closer, you see, stumbling from the front door, a man also wearing the livery of the Order of the Golden Crucible, but is obviously wearing a gas mask, and his attire is clearly that of an alchemist of the Crucible. And there are flames around him, on his clothing, on his jacket that he's patting out, and he just takes a few more steps and just drops onto the street, kind of trying to hold himself steady. And he just wrenches the gas mask off his face and is heavily breathing and wheezing as you get closer.
I'm gonna put my hands underneath his armpits and help pull him further away from the fire.
Oh, they got it! They took it! They took it already!
Who took what?
Who are you?
We're here on behalf of, my friend here is an associate of your organization.
You're a member of the Crucible. And he looks back at it. There's got to be. I don't know if he's still in there. I think Torm is still in there.
Did he take it, or did someone else take
it? I don't know.
At that point, I'm going to gently put him down, and then throwing off the greatcoat, and I'm going to book it into the building.
Okay.
I am keen to follow, but I am slightly hesitated to run into the exploderated building, so I'm going to see if he makes it through any of it first.
There is now, before you even get the chance of thinking of going in there, you hear like the creak of timbers collapsing down, and you see that the door and the windows, the door and the windows are blocked in by rubble. So you could get in there if you're strong enough to move the rubble out of the way. Of course, at which point Fragget, and Zacharias, you hear this explosion as you're heading towards this street, and you can see in the distance a plume of multicoloured flames and smoke coming up from the direction you're thinking of going. And the boy with you is going, that way.
Gold coins to brass pennies, that those two have something to do with it.
Yep.
I'll take
Definitely
that bet.
them. Again.
Come on then, boy. And I'll begin to start running.
There is, at this hour, there is now fewer people on the streets because they've headed home. You know, the factories have become quiet, and an alarm bell is now being rung by someone of the watch somewhere to bring the services there to put out the flame. And you eventually, you're running down the street, and you can see the others there attending to. Well, you can see the bodies of these two members of the guard of the Order of the Golden Crucible, and this alchemist. So, yeah, by all means, proceed. What do you want to do? Who wants to go in there?
Allender is saying, Bragg, we need you, as soon as he sees him, and kind of do like a short fire, like, Torm's probably in there. We don't know if the target is or not. It might have gone already, but everything just went up in smoke.
Right, I'll get in through the front door. Someone keep an eye on anywhere else it could get out of. Make sure no one's running off whilst we're running in.
Kato, you going in with your get up?
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll pull on my own gas mask and begin getting ready.
I'll meet Zacharias' gaze in a kind of, I guess we're going to be on the outside trying to cover any exits or be ready to dive in then. So I guess we'll
Great.
sort of spread
Okay.
to do that.
To heave the rubble out of the way and the burning timbers, you're going to have to make a strength roll.
Okay. So that's just what, pure strength plus 2d6.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Does your mighty thing also come into
No,
play
that's
with?
only for melee damage.
That's a shame.
Not really, because that's a 16.
That's a
Because
16.
I have strength 7. So
And
Nice.
what's your armor?
my armor is alchemist armor, which gives me plus 3 to blast, cold, fire, and toxins.
So it gives you plus 3 to fire. So what's your armor rating
So my armor rating total then will be 15.
with the bonus? Okay.
Yeah.
15. So you take 2 points of damage from the flames as you're heaving everything out of the way. So you're getting scalded on your big trollkin hands as you're moving these burning timbers. But you eventually move the debris out of the way, and you're able to move inside of the building with anyone else that wishes to follow you. Of course,
Ito.
the air is thick with ash and smoke, and those of you who are not wearing gas masks are, you can still go in there, but it's not easy to breathe.
I'm going in.
I'm going to hang back, but be ready to go in because I can use magic to support them. So if it's needed, I'll be ready to sprint in and hope that the magic will see me through. But I'm not keen to run into the thick, choking fumes right now of an alchemist's lab.
That's why I'm glad that we've got the alchemist armor on.
Yeah, I'm not keen to run into the chemical lab that's on fire.
When I was looking at the actual like options for armor and stuff like that, and I read the alchemist one, I was like, I can't see any reason not to take that over anything else because I can
if you've got money.
regain damage. I just want the ability to ignore death by fumes.
So yes, the building's interior is like on the ground floor is one large room. There's smoke and dust and caustic vapors in the air. It's in disarray, and there's a smouldering blast mark which dominates the rear of the long room where whatever detonated did so. Workbenches and tables are on their sides. There's pools of bubbling and toxic substances spread across the floor in lurid colours, and splashes of other strange chemicals on the walls. The fires are guttering amid the wreckage, and that provides you enough light to see with. And against the back wall of the room is set as a set of alchemical burners and glassware and flasks, which would have been used but are now obviously shattered and broken. Through the smoke, you see a man dressed in a leather apron and work clothes beneath the flaming wreckage, lying in a pool of blood.
Yeah. Bragg's going to turn to Cater and go, try and find the big water supply. There's always a big water supply in case of fires and these things. Find it, pull it. I'll get him. Get ready to get out, all right? Don't get caught under nothing. And
you're doing the same thing then of lifting up some burning timbers to get him out. So again, just another strength roll.
2 6s. So
wow,
that's a total of 19.
Yeah, and you crit it as well. So you literally throw the timbers out of the way, and you take another 3 points of damage from the flames as they lick up your hands.
I'm going to spend a feat point to immediately regain a number of my vitality equal to my physical stat. Excellent. So I am going to ignore all 5 of that and regain 7 total.
Wow, brilliant. And yes, you pull the man out, and he is bleeding out heavily from some wound to the head due to the explosion. Do you have any way of possibly helping him?
I have medicine because I'm an ex-field officer. And that's one of the skills that I get.
Does anyone else have anything else they can help to use on this guy to staunch wounds?
I have medicine too, but I'm actually going to be doing what Bragg suggested, and I'm trying to find if there's a water source that can put out the fire if it's still remaining. And I'm going to try to put out the fire, and if I can't find that, I try to find the box.
Okay, cool. So who's dragging this man out of the room?
Me.
You are. Okay, cool. So someone's pulled him out, and then you're pulling all the way outside to attend to.
Yeah, I'm going to get him straight outside because I don't know if Finch has anything that can work wonders
Sadly
in this regard.
Not. No, I don't have any magic healing or anything.
Even if not, just getting him outside means that he's no longer in fumes, fire, and stuff like that, and then I can go back in if needed. But yeah.
Okay, you can make a medicine roll now.
I'm not trained in medicine, but obviously what I'll be when Bragg lays him down, I'll be there ready to give a pair of hands to whatever Bragg needs to stop this guy just dying.
That's a total of 12 with my medicine.
I don't know if my presence gives him any bonus.
No, it's not because you're untrained. So unfortunately, once you drag him out, he looks up at you for a moment, coughing and spluttering, blood on his lips before expiring in your hands. There is nothing you can do for him. But as for those who are in the building doing some investigation, you will be wanting to use a... let's see. Basically, you'll be looking to use either forensic science or alchemy or detection, because there's numerous things you could perhaps discover as you're looking around.
Well, fortunately, I've got detection, and I'm pretty good at that.
Okay.
So... 8 plus 5, that is 13.
So, amongst the debris, you find, though they are broken, there are some which are still whole, and there's enough there to make up maybe 2, maybe 3 skeletons. And the worst thing about it is you do find a portion of a skull which has carved into the forehead of it some strange rune, which is also similar to the other runes on the bones about.
So these skeletons weren't made by the explosion. These
No.
were, yeah. I'm going to take that skull, kind of just pop it quickly in the backpack,
Yeah,
and then
sure.
I'm going to keep looking for either the box or something to put out the fire.
Okay, yeah, you can. There's no. There is a water tank and a pump, which you can. Well, there'll be a water tank because it would have been filled with it, and the pressure's enough that you can start kind of dousing some of the flames. It's not going to put it all out quickly, but it's enough to maybe aid with any further investigation for trying to find the box, which you have not yet found, of course. Does anyone else want to roll anything like alchemy or forensics if they have it?
None of us have either
No,
of those.
none of you have any of those. So that is that's all you can do for now.
I'm just working whatever the pump is and just spraying water everywhere. Careful to not like disturb any evidence if I think there's evidence, but mainly to put out the fire so the building doesn't collapse completely inwards.
With Torm dead, I'm going to move back over to the alchemist as well and try and grill him a bit more, saying, you said someone, who got away with something, who was who, and what was it they got away with? Pushing more on the who than the what, because I think I know what presumably it's the box.
Yeah, I'm going to go back in just to keep Kato safe as an in case thing, 2 people in to make sure that, there's a buddy system in case something goes terribly wrong.
The box, you're here for it. What is your interest in this box?
Well, as I said, my friend in there is an associate of your order. We needed to talk to Torm anyway. Who went in? Did someone attack?
Did someone attack? Yes, I was there looking around, and the strange thing is I think Tom had already been horrifically injured when I found him. I did not have time to. When I discovered his body upstairs, I was dragging him down to hopefully stabilize his injury and to further question him on where the box is.
And did you see anyone else in there?
I didn't see anyone until in there until they came in. And they I thought they were just thugs, but there was something else about them. And they were armed with something that...
Did they have some sort of dark magic about them?
No, they seemed to move strangely, but they didn't use... That explosion wasn't magic. One of them dropped something, and yes, the smell... You are aware of the type of vapors that we manufacture in grenades for creating rust, for degrading metals.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know the concept. Yes.
They used one of those, and that's what then caused the volatile liquids in containers to mix. That was the source of the explosion. They were trying to cover the fact that they'd come and taken the box and it seems succeeded on murdering Torm.
Were they still in there when it exploded?
I was bringing down Torm while I was hoping I would have stopped his injuries. When they walked in, I kept quiet because I did not want to alert them, and that's when I saw them drop that grenade.
Right. So and then short moments later, presumably the place went up.
It took only a few moments for the wrong chemicals to mix, and then it was just it got out of control, and one thing leads to another, and you have an entire canister of oil exploding.
Well, whoever dropped that canister didn't walk out of there, So if someone took the box beforehand, then they'd left by then.
Yes. The, but what were they? You're saying that they were skeletons? Are you saying that?
I wasn't saying that.
Who's
My
that?
comrade here was mentioning dark magic as a possibility, but you said they moved strangely.
Well, you mentioned something. Someone mentioned they were certainly moving weirdly. They did not have the air of a human around them.
Well, then they were, as you say, there to cover tracks. So whoever took the box already left.
There was one thing I spotted, actually, when they came in. One of them was brandishing a dagger, clearly. In the case, because I guess that if they were coming to clear things up, they also may have wanted to make sure Torm was actually dead. You never know in these matters. But are you aware of a ship that is docked near here? I saw it in passing. It's a red banner with an emblem of a crow upon it.
No, I haven't seen it, but it should be fairly easy to find. What would link these thieves to that ship, do you think?
Well, I don't know. It's the only thing I spotted.
That's a very vague link, but I think it's all we have to follow at this point. And you're saying that they somehow escaped with this box. Do you know how they escaped? Was it through the sewers? Was there like a connection?
Well,
Maybe it was
there's a
dumping alchemical reagents.
they could have left by there's a back entrance to Torm's warehouse. They could have left by that or the front door, but by the time I'd entered into the building and looked around, the box where I expected Torm to keep it under the floorboards, there's a safe space. That had already been ransacked, and so that's why I went upstairs then. Well, continued looking just in case. And then when I concluded it wasn't there, I thought, well, I went looking for Torm and then found him dying. It's a shame he's dead now. He may have been able to tell us more about what was in there.
It is rather unfortunate, yes. I'll look to Zacharias. Well, I suppose we wait to see if the others come out intact, and then we need to get moving. We don't have a lot of time.
No, we surely don't. It's only about an hour left before
If that.
we have our other contact to meet. We're busy.
Yes, the knife. That's it. Yes, the knife, and the. It's not a ship, is it? No. Are you aware of a gang called the Bloody Skiffs? That's why I was confused. It's not a ship. It is a gang or something called the Bloody Skiffs. They're they work in the docks. That's where I've seen it. They have
You've seen knives like that, then.
They like to tie these small tokens to their knives as a sign of the gang they belong to, don't they? And it is
That's helpful. I think you may be concussed and suffering from being at the explosion. I think you just sit down now and just rest and try and get your senses back. All right, we will try and deal with things for now. All right.
Yes, and
Thank you.
You stay here, and we'll send help.
The watch will be along shortly to help put out the fires.
Which I've mostly put out at this point.
yeah. And with that, what is your plan of action then?
Wait for the others to get out the building and I suppose clarify that there's no box, nothing else to be found in there. And then relay what we've learned out here to Bragg and Kato, and just say, look, this guy is confused, but he thinks there's some sort of link with these red skiffs or crimson skiffs. Does Kato show us the skull?
So after I put out the fire, I'm going to make a quick glance for anything that might be important. I'm not looting the place, but I am just trying to see, like, explosion. What could have caused it? Or
This is a fire sale.
or weird skeletons on the floor with runes carved into them. I might grab a couple of those bones as well, and then I'm going to come outside and like kind of dramatically remove my filter because I've been breathing filtered air for the last, I'm going to say 5 or 10 minutes. And then I'm just going to walk up and just pull out a weird skull with a rune on it, and I hold up the bones, and we found 4 skeletons on the inside.
Chris, is it a Telgesh rune thrall thingy on the skull?
Oh yeah, you recognise it.
Finch will curse under his breath and go, that confirms what the alchemist was blathering on about. Someone animated. These are thralls. There is a necromancer at work.
Good. By the gods.
Given that one of the thralls had a knife from a gang called the Red Skiffs, I suspect the thralls are what's left of the Red Skiffs.
Well, they had no clothes or anything on them. These were just skeletons.
Oh, there were mostly clothes around at some point that obviously have got blown apart or burnt in the explosion.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That would also explain why nobody noticed they were gone. They'd been reanimated. They'd still be there.
And as long as no one looked too closely, they could get away with it.
Oh, but, one minute, guys. I'm just gonna go have a look at the pair of the Golden Order guards and make sure if they're still alive, they maintain still being alive.
They're also in a pretty bad way. Concussed and bleeding. They're not dead, but they need some attention.
I've got field medicine, but nothing more.
I'm going to suggest we take a 10-minute, 15-minute break there, and then we'll continue we'll come back, and then we'll do the last hour-ish. That should take us up to 11 GMT or a bit after, and because I think we might get to the interesting bit. Right, so we'll be back in a bit. We'll be on a break, so we'll see you soon. And we are back for what might be the concluding part of this scenario. We will try and run through it. It's not... Obviously, this is just to kind of get us into the mood of it and not the main Immortality plot line. But anyway, so... obviously, night has now fallen as you are hurrying away from the ruins of Torm's workshop, and the City Watch are eventually arriving there, and you don't want to get into awkward questions given what you already have spoken with the lieutenant, who doesn't want the captain to know about what you're doing. You can now you have some idea from the alchemist where to be looking for this gang, and you head back over the bridge, over the river, and turn south towards the very damp maze of the Corvus dockside neighbourhood. And around are numerous heavily armed lowlifes of the dock who harass people, and they're outside the seedy taverns, and there's thugs and there's so forth. There are numerous deckhands and roustabouts who are now obviously having a good night's drink after having worked all day. But you need to find where this gang, the bloody skiff, where they keep their base of operations, or where they operate from. So I guess the best thing is to start asking around.
Yeah, sure thing.
I'm gonna go find my friend.
Yeah, that's probably the best tactic.
Okay. You head back to one of the bars, and you find the person that you intimidated earlier quite happily drinking away on a pint, thinking that his evening was now hopefully much, much simpler than it's now not going to be.
All right, son.
And he kind of like half spits out his drink back into his tankard and looks up. Oh, Fragget, you're back. What have I done now?
Nothing at all. In fact, you're going to be getting the opportunity to get in my good graces. So, son, I'm looking for the bloody skiff.
Oh, those bastards. Yeah, I've heard of them. Not seen them much recently.
That's because they're all dead, or wishing they were anyway.
You're looking for them, not me, not my guys.
Nope.
Just them.
Nope, nothing to do. In fact, when this is all over, chances are their territory is going to be going begging, and I'm giving you first heads up, like I said, to be in my good graces. So, where exactly do they make their beds?
So, and he kind of looks around. So they've got a boat. They've got a steam powered barge up on Pier 16. That's where they normally work from. That's where you should
Pier
go.
16.
It's not far from here. Just make sure no one told you. I didn't tell you any of this, where they are.
Of course you didn't.
I've got a reputation to
fact,
keep.
I didn't tell you that in 24 hours, Pier 16 is going to be fair cop again, isn't it?
Well, that's good to know. I'll see you in about an hour or so then, when business is done.
I imagine so. You have yourself a good evening now.
You too, Fragget. Nice doing business with you, I guess. Always a pleasure. And he goes back to drinking his tankard of ale. You head towards then Pier 16, and it's a rundown pier. It's dark. There are numerous crates, and there are other boats and ships that are moored against it. But again, it's not. There aren't really any guards. There's the smell of rotting fish. Some of the wood looks very deteriorated, and the boards beneath your feet are black and slick with the damp. And it is incredibly cold right now, what with the sleet and rain.
Whoever's taken up residence there is either a necromancer or working with one. So I'd suggest making sure you have your weapons ready, gentlemen.
You
Indeed.
What?
you head along and you see that there is a barge moored to the left of that pier, and there's a ramp leading up to it, and the barge's name is printed across its iron shod hull, though of course there is years of wear and tear upon it, and the paint is faded in places, but you can just make out that the name of the boat is the Sullen Wench.
What a piece of junk.
Yeah.
It's not very appealing, is it?
No, I would have expected these Thamarites to have a bit more.
I think it has a rustic
Coinage.
charm.
I like it too.
Yeah. Nothing at all that would not be improved by everything on that ship being no longer part of the undead or living.
Agreed.
Yes.
So if they have undead, why don't they make the undead like clean the ship?
I think it would rather give the game away if there were a skeleton with a mop atop the top of it, scrubbing away.
Not true. True.
Is there anything looking like there's no guard? There's no sort of. Is there anyone on the ramp or on the barge's deck at all, or is it all just silent and clear?
You can all make a detection roll.
Should do that.
Come on.
Zacharias doesn't see anything.
12.
Well,
Oh, there's the turn. I get 7.
It's dark.
So everyone, so 7, and everyone else got what, a 12?
12 here.
And Mike?
Like a 6 or something.
Wow, right, okay. Yeah, you don't spot anything. You can't see anyone on the main deck. At least
Quiet.
from where you are right now.
Well,
Yeah, Kato, can you just like conjure some fire or something, or maybe Finch conjure some fire and we'll just burn this thing down? Oh, we need to get the box off.
it's made of
And
iron.
also, there may be 2 potentially, hostages on board.
Oh,
Yeah,
that too.
yes.
That too.
I'm
Yeah, I'm
with
sorry. Just talking things through before
Or
we
more
go
concerningly,
risk our
the
necks.
same kind of things that might explode like that alchemist lab did.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, let's go the stealthy approach.
Unfortunately, it does look like we're going to have to go on board.
Yep.
Right. You proceed to board the barge, going up the gantry onto it. And you, as you do so, you see stood in the main cabin on top of because it's it's a sheltered cabin where they can control the barge from and so forth. There is a deckhand in there, a surly looking, rough looking person, and he raises his voice as he sees you boarding. Oi, what are you doing on here? You're not meant to be here.
Everyone, I got this. Hi, we're with the inspector's office, and someone forgot to sign this paperwork right here. So if I could just get your signature on this. Are
you still in your disguise?
I was
you
just about to
originally
say,
had?
have you gone back?
You
Oh
still
shit! Am I?
disguised? Yeah.
I'm still looking pretty rough. Okay.
Is it the kind of disguise that's like turn your jacket inside out kind of thing? Can you have made yourself look like slightly less of a vagrant, or is it?
No,
is
I
that
think
off
I'm still
somewhere
pretty.
else?
I think I'm still pretty vagrant looking. Okay, wait. Let's change this tactic. Yeah, I've got a delivery for James Doohan. I just need. Can you just sign for this? And I'll just leave the box here.
Sorry, I'm on the wrong thing. Let's see. You want me to sign for
Yes,
it?
delivery.
Yeah, just sign for it.
Delivery.
Yep, just right here. I just need your signature. That's it. Here's a pen.
signature. Right.
These bloody couriers.
Look, why don't you? We've already signed for all the goods we're meant to be taking on today. So why don't you piss off?
Listen, I'm a working guy. You're a working guy. You know how it is. Just the signature. I'll just drop off the box right here. We're good to go. I don't need to have any trouble. You don't need to have any trouble. Everyone will be okay.
How about you just go away? It's none of your business. We've paid our dues. We've taken our goods on for the for the
Gosh,
night. and we're gonna
okay.
head
I
off.
stab him. I use my
Oh,
feat
wow.
point to stab him.
One step
Okay.
away from pulling out my
So my character has what is my feat?
I'm trying to put a token onto the board,
Aha.
and I can't
So
put them
quick
on there.
thinking.
Oh, there we go.
Can spend a feat point to act or attack on before another person's turn. So I'll just spend a point and just stab him with my sword.
I
This
just
courier's
like-
just had enough.
I like how this plan went from 0 to brag very quickly. That's what I'm gonna say.
If he could have just signed the damn thing and you wouldn't have died.
He had to choose the
Okay.
hard way, didn't he?
So I'm just putting on some things on our Roll20 just so we know where people are, just because it will make life a bit easier. And Mike, your guy is... we don't have a token for him yet, so let's just name one. Edit. What's his name? His name is Zacharias. And we can do that. Save changes and close that. And you're stabbing this guy. You are literally in his face, and you are.
Yeah, it's gonna be
That's strange.
probably through the stomach. I've got a
It's
rapier
coming up
kind
like
of sword.
that because it's the token associated with the character sheet that is
Oh.
Zacharias or someone else, which we can then set.
Okay, if you wanna
when
set-
we've got art for it all.
Yeah, if we can set a okay, so let me just drag in something like that, just so I know where he is. But yeah, you're just straight up stabbing this guy up close in his face.
Yep.
Okay,
that's
go on
correct.
then. Roll to hit him. He's got a let's see, what's his defense? This is a surprise, but his defense is 12.
Okay, I can probably do this, team. I've got a hand weapon of 5, and I got a 13.
Nice.
Excellent. So yeah, you've hit him.
Yep.
And how
my
much
dress
damage
sword.
do you do?
Exits the sheath, and then stabs him right in the stomach. My power plus strength is 5. Do I need to roll with that, or is it just...
It's 2d6 plus your power plus strength.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, it's been a while, like 8 years since I played this game.
Yeah, I know, right?
So that's it's a 15.
That's a 15. Yeah, you stab him in his gut, and he cries out in pain, though he is not dropped down dead or anything yet from this this cut. In shock, he goes to draw his own sword and attack you, and everyone can roll for initiative. So you just roll 2d6 and add your initiative rating.
Okay.
Alrighty then. Where is that then? Okay.
Okay.
We'll add some others on here, just so I know roughly where everyone is.
I've
Just
got
to
the
check.
turn order right there for you, right up already.
Oh, just to check, are we supposed to be seeing anything? I'm seeing a bit of street on the map at the moment. That's what I'm seeing.
because there you go, everyone. Now you can see the boat.
Yay!
Sweet.
Fantastic.
And as people let me know their roles, I can add them on to the initiative.
Yeah, initiative isn't going to
My-
be changing from turn to turn, I don't think.
No.
No.
My total is 19.
Okay. So yeah, just keep a record of that.
Yep. Well, we've actually got a turn order that we can.
Wow,
I need to add
excellent.
myself on. And brag. Well, actually,
You got 28 initiative?
Oh, I'm sorry, it was 26.
Yeah, you can get quite high.
I was going to say I'm on 22. I've got plus 13.
I could get
Initiative.
up to 27, but that's maximum. I
Oh.
didn't. Didn't roll
Oh,
very well.
Right, so Finch got 19.
Correct.
I got 16.
Kato got 16.
I'll let you guys do the heavy work.
Zach, what did you get?
26.
26.
And the deckhands have got 14.
Okay, and then let's set that by descending order. There we go.
Cool. So, Zacharias, you've just stabbed this guy in front of you as your kind of surprise action.
Stab him again.
You're going to go stab him again.
Yeah, I'm pretty fast. So the attack
by
roll
McStabbo.
is only a 10 on the attack roll.
So you, on the actual, as your total.
Yes, that is the total.
So you miss him on that, yep.
Yep.
You're staying with him, or do you want to try and move around him? Because remember, you've got a bonus to backstabbing, basically.
Oh, I should have probably done that.
You could have circled to
I should have
behind
circled
him.
around. So I'll do that. Yeah.
And that gives you a bonus to hitting. So you will have hit by doing that. I wish things wouldn't snap to the grid as much as they do sometimes.
Do you want things not to snap to grid?
Yeah, don't snap to grid. There's no need.
Okay, I'll sort that first. No.
But anyway, yeah, you've hit him then, Mike, in the back. And because it's a back stab, let me see. What's the bonus for stabbing someone in the back? Prone target, no. Backstab, where is it? Back strike, yeah. +2 on the attack roll, so you hit, yeah. So now you can just do your damage.
Cool. That is 13 on the damage roll.
So that's another point of damage. You drive your dagger or sword into him.
It's a sword.
Yeah, you basically cause a minor flesh wound to him. He's still standing, facing forward at Fraggot because obviously he's distracted by this huge bulk of a trollkin.
As you do.
Speaking of whom, it's the trollkin's next turn.
All right, so I can see that there are several other deckhands on here.
Yep.
And
And
so I'm
remember,
just gonna.
in a turn, you can do a move action, and you can do a simple action and a attack action.
Well, actually, I can do a little bit more because I attack and attack and attack, because I built this character to do so. So I'm going to move up to this gentleman over here,
Excellent.
who would otherwise. So, how much movement do I have?
Everyone's speed is inches, so it's literally what you.
Speed in inches.
Yeah, so that's a full advance.
Speed.
If you want, you could.
It's your stat speed.
Yeah, you can do a charge, and that would add +3 inches onto it, and then also, so long as you move 3 inches, you get a
5.
bonus. Yeah, so you're 3 inches away. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
if
I
you-
can move behind this gentleman then.
You have if you move like that, you can do so. A charge is always in a straight line. You see.
I wasn't going to be charging him.
Yeah.
But I can get to him within my 5 inches of movement.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm going to do one attack with my trench knife.
Okay.
Then I get to do one punch attack with my flying fists, and then we'll
Right.
see what happens after that.
Wow.
Because I may be able to get a third attack in there if it's necessary. Okay, so that's 11 on the dice. My trench knife, that's a 17 to hit.
So that's
The
definitely a hit.
trench knife, the power plus strength is 12. So that's just to go through damage again then. So
So it's the power plus strength plus 2d6 as damage versus
plus,
their armor.
plus 2 to hits again. Okay, so that's a 7, so that's 19.
Yeah, that's pretty horrific against these guys. You literally slice straight. You cleave through this deckhand, and he's left as a bloody mess on the ship on the deck floor.
Okay,
So we
Then
can
I've-
forget about him.
then I've got just under.
So long as you're within half an inch of someone else, because weapons have reach. So
Yeah,
as long as we're
well,
within half an inch of him, you can.
I've got 1 inch to move left, which will get me up to this next guy.
You would basically, because it's basically you would have done a move followed by an attack. So, but
Yeah.
with your facing, you would have if you, because facing's important in this game. You would have done.
And
Okay.
you split your move. Can you move then?
That's what I was trying to
and then
find
move
out,
again,
yeah.
or
You
is
can't.
that
You can't split moves. But what you can
Right,
do is
okay.
if you end your facing, such that you are facing both of them and they're in your 180 to the front, you can hit one and
okay.
then hit the other.
So if I set myself as a drawing,
In that
everyone
respect, if
sets
you're
it
playing
to-
this game at home and you pick it up, in that respect, it's actually combat is quite obvious with when you use tokens or miniatures for it, because it is based on a very rigorous war game and it respects the rules of facing and everything.
well, in line with that, then what I could do, knowing that I have half an inch of reach, is move into the middle of both of them, which would
Exactly.
then give me the ability to attack
Yeah.
both. So, because I have the flying fists feat as being a pugilist, I now get to make 1 punch melee attack. I have knuckle dusters for this, so we'll see what happens with this. 10 plus that is a 16 to hit,
That's a hit.
and then 2d6 plus this. Okay, that's a 21.
Yeah, you crack this person. You literally punch so hard their jaw is like a bloody mess on them, and they're dead. They are
Okay.
properly dead.
Well, I mean,
Mr.
that's great. It means I
Justice.
don't have to spend a feat point to do my third attack of the turn.
Right, it's Finch's go. So there are already 2 deckhands you've just seen butchered.
just go splat? Yeah,
Um,
he's Brag's tearing through him, but I don't want to take too many chances here. I don't want to not want to take too much of a risk. So step up onto the boat deck. Runes crackling in circles around the hands. Quick action. Aura of protection goes up, so everyone within 8 of me has +2 armor. Quick action, Hand of Fate. I'm going to drop it on Kato, because guns hit pretty hard. So then another crackling rune thing and a whack at the gun mage. So Kato on his attacks, you roll an extra die on attack and damage, and then you drop the lowest die.
Wow, cool.
Okay.
So the chance of crits is great.
Then stepping up. So my movement where I want to end up is the key part, I guess, is basically flanking the guy that Zacharias is trying to backstab. I'm going to sort of step up with, I'm not even drawing the sword cane. I don't have the fucking time for that. Fuck that. But just moving up so whoever the guy wants to try and take on, he's kind of going to have to put his back to one of us. And even if he tries to have a go at me, I'm hoping the greatcoat and the magic will protect me, and Zacharias can keep on just trying to stab him.
Okay, we need to make a token for Kato to put on the board, don't we?
There we go. Yep. If
Yeah.
you just drag it straight on, it'll be.
I'm going to assume Kato is would have moved up onto the deck behind. Come on, place it there. Behind the crate there. Okay, cool. And yeah, if you're and the magic, obviously magic in this game is such that when it manifests in the Iron Kingdoms, you literally see the runes that is the magical language that is being used as literal auras and rotating mandalas about the magic user again around the sorcerer or gun mage or whatever, and as that magic is channeled and takes form. So basically, you just create these crackling auras around you, and Kato's weapon. I guess your weapon has now got this already got
I
this
think it's
crackling
probably-
runes around it.
You probably get the most, because obviously presumably when Kato is a gun mage, he gets the runes going on hand and gun. I imagine Hand of Fate is on him rather than the gun.
Yeah.
So there's probably runes crackling from it in slightly the wrong place for how you're used to casting, because it's not where it should be, because I'm enchanting you rather than you casting a spell. Those are both casting cost 2. I have arc 4, so I've just hit my limit. I don't have to make any fatigue checks for this turn.
Yeah. So, Kato, you feeling empowered?
Good.
I also imagine the Hand of Fate thing might even manifest as the circling runes when you pull out your gun and aim at someone might even cause almost like a targeting matrix of magical runes.
It's aim assist.
It's aim assist. Yeah, you've literally got aim assist. That is actually how some of the magic does kind of work in the Iron Kingdoms. Which
Just
is,
shoot
I think,
in that
is
general
brilliant.
direction, and the bullets just happen to go in.
There's the one deckhand nearby that is obviously engaged by Zacharias, and engagement is important in this game as well. But there are two that are, one is near the deck and near a crate, and one is behind some crates. So who do you want to shoot at?
There's some asshole out in the open. Isn't
My
there?
token, which I'm just wiggling on screen real quick, it looks like I'm behind one of the deckhands. Was that where my...
No, this should be you here. Oh, sorry. Can I change the color?
They're set as drawings, so what we can do is how to do. If everyone just pings me some artwork for your characters, I can get on making some.
I think
actual
you're basically
tokens
this
for
one
them.
here that I'm pinging for you.
Then seeing him head on, I pull out my mage lock, which has a giant 4-leaf clover put into the nice mahogany handle of it. I take a careful aim right at the guy, and then I'm casting 3 spells at once.
Wow.
It's accuracy, brutal, and thunderbolt. Because I figure we're not stealthing at this point.
No, I think stealth has gone out the window.
All right, so that gives me additional die to try to hit, and I get an additional die from the spell, and I drop the lowest.
Wow.
Yeah, so you're
the
rolling
chance of
4
crit on
dice.
this is horrific.
4 dice dropping lowest.
2 3s, so that's a crit, right?
Yeah, that's a crit.
And plus 7, so that's 10 plus 7, so that is 17.
That's a critical hit. Yeah.
Oh, 16. Sorry, I forgot to drop the lowest. And then, all right, so I have 3d6 for brutal.
Yep.
Ooh, that is. What does my mage lock do again?
Remember, you get Hand of Fate on damage as well. You add a die and drop the lowest
Oh.
on damage.
God.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I rolled a 1 on that one, so it didn't help.
Oh,
There's 22 points of damage.
And so it's brutal damage, and it's you aimed with it. And does it do anything else? Does it do knockback?
Yeah, on a crit, he's knocked back D3 inches, and on a crit, he's knocked down.
Right.
He goes back 2 inches.
Yeah, I think.
or nearly off the edge.
Yeah,
I was about to say, yeah.
But I think you've done enough damage that he's actually dead as well. Yeah.
He's slumped against the gangrail.
Is it kind of was it Thunderstrike, wasn't it, as well, with that spell?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the bullet is a crackling blast of lightning that slams into the guy and blows a hole through his chest, leaving it cauterized and charred.
In our defence, there has already been one big explosion today, and it wasn't our fault.
Yeah, that's fine. Has everyone taken their action they were going to do, or have you got another shot?
No, my last action is fast reload to my quick action to reload.
To reload it, brilliant. Which means it's the last deckhand who's looking really quite, shocked by events. Is going to pull out. Is going to stay in position with the cover, pull out his pistol, and take aim at the. I don't know who's scary enough. I think he's gonna shoot at the gun mage because that's terrifying. And try and hit you. What's your defense?
13.
13.
Oh, no, it's no, yeah, it is 13. Yeah.
13. So it's a hit, and
Ow.
there's no critical on that. And the damage power is 10. 10. That's a total of 16 minus your armor.
Ow.
Remember, you've got +2 armor from the aura.
Yeah, I was about to say, you've got +2 armor.
Still 4.
Wow. That's insane. Excellent.
I'm a human, so
Do we who rolls to see where the damage goes on your damage spiral?
The attacker does. Oh, I need to roll where it goes. It goes on a spiral. It goes on arm 4.
So we should probably explain this to
yeah.
people watching who,
Yeah,
who don't know the system.
So, I've got this here. So, basically, we have... can we see it? There we go. I'm going to make my hand... it's magic. Come on, recognise it.
It sees it for a second.
But anyway, what you've got is these spirals, okay, for characters and for beasts. There are 6 arms to the spiral. They're grouped into pairs, so based upon physical, mental, and agility. And as you take damage, you apply it to one of the spirals. If a group of spirals like physical is taken out, then you get modifiers to you based upon the type of injury that's being done there. You'll notice there's also damage grids. Damage grids are for warjacks, because warjacks have like grids which are empty, which represents their armor, but then also you'll start doing damage to systems like their cortex or their weapons or their movement. So that's really just how it works. It's quite simple. I think it's a very easy way of adding some kind of sort of serious injuries and not quite serious injuries. But anyway, so yes, you've horrifically butchered all of the deckhands there, and due to the absolute ruckus that's been going on, especially with that gunshot that went off, that was a crackling thunderbolt of energy that has illuminated this darkened ship. You see coming up from below deck, from behind the cabin, a hulking figure which you immediately recognize as an Ogren, and with him a smaller figure, a human apparently, wearing a dark hood and a greatcoat. They're still living, but by the looks of it, rather emaciated, and clearly their very own soul has been corrupted by the necromantic energies they've been using. So let me just add them on. I think he's I'm going to put him there. If he wants to place him. Come on, place. I'll try that again. There we go. He's going to go there. And we're going to bring him on as a enemy, which will go there. And that's our... clearly the necromancer. As they get on deck, you also begin to see that the now dead deckhands, their eyes, what were lifeless globes, begin to illuminate with deathly green balefire, and their bodies start to jitter and almost come back onto their feet as if they are puppets being lifted by unseen strings. Right. What do you wish to say? I mean, if you wish to converse with those before you, I would say that also, Fragget, you recognise the Ogren before you. This tall, they've got like big teeth coming out of his jaw, and he's carrying a rather large kind of axe and has a shield. His name you're aware of, and you've met him, maybe not in passing, but you're aware that he is a brute that is wanted for various crimes of river piracy. So he's known in these parts. His name is Brack Seabreaker, and it's clearly a hired goon for this necromancer. And I just need to roll some initiative for these guys.
Let me know what they get, and I'll add them on.
The now animated thralls are initiative 11, and the necromancer is initiative 18, and Brack is initiative 19.
Okay. That should be all sorted.
Is there anything else? Nope, that'll do. So, what do you want to do? Who's got the highest initiative to act then?
It's Zacharias.
Yeah.
Zacharias, what do you make? You were dealing with the deckhand before you. He's still alive. he's not been turned into one of these thralls.
All right. Well, seems to me that this emaciated being could be the necromancer that we're so worried about. So, Zacharias will step to the well, it's the right side of the screen. So head towards the just start heading towards the ogre, ogryn, whatever they're called. Yeah, and the emaciated figure. He's gonna grab the pen that he had before from his clipboard. He's gonna hit the top of it and throw it at the emaciated figure.
Wow. Okay. You're going to need to make a range attack rating. Range attack because it's a basic grenade, so you're throwing it.
Yeah. So this is not actually a grenade. We'll see if I hit. If this is okay.
I've never wanted to crit so much in my life.
You're going to target more than likely the big, hulking, slow-moving.
No, I'm targeting the emaciated figure because I only with the this is my knockout pen, so it only has a very limited range.
Oh, okay.
I want to get him in the gas. And
Remember,
knock him out.
you can spend a feat point to boost the attack roll.
Yes.
Oh, I was looking at the feat list, and I couldn't see. You can't boost attack rolls. You can boost non-attack skill rolls.
Hold on, can you not?
But you, unless you have a specific weapon, unless you do it. Some do.
True.
But you can spend a feat
re-roll
point.
a fail.
That's right. You can re-roll a fail.
That's the
with a
one.
feat
Okay.
point.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see if we get this. Come on, baby. Come on, knockout pen.
Pen.
I
of
got
Destiny.
a 12.
That's not a hit.
Oh
No, let's re-roll that with a feat point.
Yay!
Pen of Destiny.
That is a 13.
That is a hit.
Okay, there we go.
Ah,
So he needs to make a physical roll against 14 to stay conscious.
Physical roll. Okay.
just using his physical stat, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
Doesn't have a physical stat because this is from a written adventure, so they don't often give
Yeah,
them
well,
physical stats.
standard for a human is 5, I
5,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna say
So-
6.
What? He's emaciated.
Yeah, but he's empowered by dark magic.
And what do I
Oh,
need to
right.
beat?
14.
Yes, he's beaten that.
Ah, it's worth a shot, everyone. And now I'm really close to these two figures. Because throwing pens is not a very long-range attack.
So
It's all right.
You moved closer to what about? Because what was the range on the attack?
I don't have it written down, but I'm throwing a pen. It can't be that far.
Yeah, it's mostly as far as your
Like
strength.
4 or 5 inches
Yeah, so
away,
it's
probably.
about there. Yeah, that's put you dangerously close.
Whoopsie doodle.
It's all right. I've got you.
Okay, so next is going to be Fraggot. You've just seen your friend chuck a pen.
As far as I'm
Which
aware,
explodes
pen.
and unleashes this knockout gas.
Oh no! For Bragg's point of view, I just really wanted Zacharias to just as far as he's aware, just throw a pen at the necromancer. What was that? Come on, mate, pull. And then I'm gonna. I'm
What's
gonna
all that about?
Yeah. What exactly is a pen gonna do in this? And then I'm going to. So we were talking about charge earlier. So straight line.
But you're already close and thus engaged by these thralls that have got up. So if you do so, they'll have a chance to attack you.
Are they knocked down still, or have they stood up in the same action?
They would have stood up
Okay.
as part of the action.
Well, I'll let them get the chance. That's
Okay,
fine.
fine. You're just gonna run past one, leave him behind, and go straight after the Ogryn.
I'm going to close the gap because they're right next to each other. I'm going to try to get in between both of them on purpose. So, what is the charge distance you were saying?
So
Sorry,
it's your speed plus 3 inches.
So that's 8 inches, which means I can get there for 6.5 inches. Perfect. Right. And then turn my facing
So you're
around.
charging the necromancer.
I am charging the Necromancer, but because of my multiple attacks, I need to be within range of both. So that's my movement action. I then have a standard action and attack action, yeah?
You have a quick action and an attack
Okay.
action, yeah.
As my quick action, Bragg is going to get out the huge it's actually a collapsing set of manacles. He clamps one onto one wrist and the other onto the Ogren. So the Ogren is now attached to me. And these are specifically manacles that reach up to Ogren size. So one hand is attached to him, which is going to be his punching hand. And then as my attacks, first attack, I'm going to attack the Necromancer with the trench knife.
Okay. As you do that, Brack, seeing what you're about to do, is going to use his Shield Guard ability and stand in the way and take the attack.
Okay.
Meaning you're hitting him instead.
That's fine. So first attack then is hitting him. Oh, God.
And he's got a defense of 8, so you'll likely get to hit him quite easily.
Well, I was about to say I've got to re-roll that one. But yeah. So that's a pair of 4s. That's an 8 plus the 6. So that's a 14 to hit.
Okay, and it's a critical hit if there's any critical
Yeah.
modifier.
So I get plus. So when hitting with this, when I crit, I have a chance to knock out.
Okay.
So I need him to make a will check versus 16.
Versus 16. Wow.
No, sorry, 18 because it's plus 2 because of the actual weapon itself. And yeah, well, if he doesn't pass that, he's unconscious.
Wow. Okay.
That's will.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. You clout him right round the jaws and you knock him out.
Okay, so I've now got him sort of attached to one arm but unconscious. So I'm just gonna with sort of with Bragg sort of grinning at this, just goes, well, it does appear that you have royally fucked up, and just elbow the Necromancer because I have to make a punch melee attack. So 8 plus 6 is a 14 to hit.
Yeah, you hit, but he's on defense 13, so you've hit him.
Yeah, okay. And then so this is I roll 3d6 because I am mighty. Okay. Do we crit on damage?
There's no only if there's a crits only matter if there's a critical effect.
Okay, well again it's knockouts, but I don't know if you crit on
It's
damage or
only
just
on
on attacks.
attack rolls.
It's only
so
on
yeah.
attack roll, yeah.
So I don't know if for the mighty if I drop the lowest or I just roll 3d6.
You
I
add an
roll
additional
3d6.
die. Yeah, you roll 3d6 for melee damage.
Okay, great. So that's 8 plus the 12, so that's 20.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hit really hard.
You again turn around, and this is with the knuckle dusters, is it, or is this the club?
Yeah, this is well. Technically, it's a punch attack, but I'm wearing knuckle dusters. I don't know if it includes that or not because
It
it's
does.
technically a melee weapon.
Yeah, it does. So yeah, you punch the Necromancer and again smash his puny pea skull to bloody mess, and he collapses on the ground dead. Wow. Okay. We're learning the system it's very quick fighting with these guys, isn't it? So that's your turn done then, is it?
Well, if anyone was still alive, I could have done some nasty stuff as well. But yeah, that's my turn.
Obviously, you get back feat points if you incapacitate an enemy, or you succeed on a critical hit with a skill or attack roll, or you do some awesome action. So you've got back a feat point with anything you did there. Right, who's next? It would have been
Seabreaker, but he's unconscious.
He's unconscious, so I need to check what he does. He's knocked out. Whenever a character is knocked out, they're knocked down, blah, 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 blah. While knocked out, characters cannot allocate focus, take actions. At the start of each of their turn, a knocked out character may make a willpower roll versus a target of 14 to see if they come to. which he does. If he succeeds, he is no longer knocked out and can act normally that turn, though he is still knocked out. He's going to use one of his feat points this turn then to shake the knockdown effect. So he gets up. So that's how you shake knockdown, is you can use a feat point. So he gets up, looks at the fact that you've killed his employer, and he's pissed. He's proper pissed off. You bastard! And he just swings his cleaver straight into you.
An angry boy.
He is very angry. His melee attack rating is 6. What's your defense?
10.
10. Have I got anything that's going to help him? No. 10. Okay. And he is going to spend a feat point to re-roll his miss. And he hits just, and then he does his damage, which is power plus strength of 10, plus 3d6, because he's also mighty. What's your armor?
12, and I don't think I'm within the range of 8 inches for the additional effect.
You can
I
always
think
just check.
you might 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You are just outside. You're just outside, yeah.
So that is 19 damage minus your armor.
Okay, so that's 13, so 6 damage, and then
To
you have
the
determine
2.
where it go to the 2. Okay, that's great. So I have 3 in there because I have 7 physique. So what happens when it takes
It overflows onto the next spiral. So if you fill up 1, it goes into 2. If you fill up 2, it goes into 3, etc., etc. in a clock.
Okay, great. There we are then.
Nice and simple. Excellent. And he's done his attack action. He can't do anything else with anything else he's got there. That's the end of his turn.
Yeah, Bragg spits quite a bit of blood at that.
Yeah, the cleaver is bitten into your side, gouging you deep. And the next person to act then is Finch.
Oh, bench.
Yes. So, quick question. When the Necromancer dropped, did the reanimated deckhands drop as well? Or are
No,
they
they're
still
already
functioning?
empowered because he doesn't need to be around to keep them going.
Yeah. So I am maintaining both of my upkeep spells. One of them I upkeep for free because I have great power, so I get to upkeep for free. So I am only on 1 point of fatigue, 1 point of power so far. Right. So I've got one guy a little bit away in front of me who I was hoping to menace, who no longer has the guy backstabbing him. And we've got some undead thingies rumbling around in the middle who could go any direction at any one. So I'm not within the engagement range of that guy, am I?
No, you won't be. No, that's going to be
so
more...
I'm backing up slightly as my move just to open up some more sight lines.
Yeah.
Back up near to where Kato is as well, muttering something about amateurs under my breath while looking at these undead. And then, crackling rune arc, point at the ominously at the poor chap in front of me.
The poor deckhand that's been stabbed in the back a bit.
Arcane bolt with a boost on that. I'm spending a thing to boost it. So that would be a crit if I had any benefit from it. I don't. So that is 14, 16 to hit.
That's a hit.
I'll fucking boost the damage roll as well because he's got. No, I won't. I won't boost the damage roll because
No.
that'll put me into a fatigue check yet, and I don't want to do that yet. So I'm just going to do a normal damage roll to him, which is only 17.
Yeah, that's him dead.
So one arcane bolt, blam, and then turn, and 1, 2, 3. I need to have a quick check on with the spell effects on dead. Actually, it's a bit embarrassing to cast it on undead if it doesn't. No, I only get the benefit if it's a living target, but it works on
Is
undead.
that bleed?
Yeah. So then the nearest
The deckhand that's
guy...
behind... There's a deckhand, remember, still behind the crates that isn't dead.
Yeah, but I figure if we take everyone else apart, I'm willing for the guys who hopefully have the sense at the end to go, maybe let's not. then fine,
You want to capture someone
hope
alive,
too
don't
much.
you?
I wouldn't hope for too much sense here. The hired mercenary just decided to stick a cleaver in me rather than negotiate.
But he's an ogre, isn't he? They've got all sorts of shit going on.
Oh, you want to bleed him? Yeah.
I'm not going to bleed the ogre because he's engaged with you, and I am shit at firing into engagements with spells. With this kind of spell, anyway. I don't want to
Please don't
accidentally
shoot
bleed.
me.
I don't want to bleed you. So I'm going to target the nearest zombie boy who's hanging around in the middle of that great area there. I am casting Bleed I am going to boost the bleed attack, which is unfortunate because I rolled triple one.
Oh,
so
that's a
unless they
solid
have
miss.
unless they have defense 7, that's a miss.
No, a double, well, a triple. If as long as it's all ones, that's always an automatic miss. So.
Okay, well that was a horrible fail of casting. So the second, more runes crackle up on his arm, start to pulse with ominous red, and it just it comes apart in the wash of necromantic energy at the guy. Now I have to make a check at this point for fatigue, because I have burned right into my fatigue this time. Where is it? Where's the rules for making fatigue rolls? Where are they?
It's in magic.
Oh, I found them. Okay, I've exceeded my arc. I must roll a 2d6, and if it is equal to or over the number of fatigue points I currently have, nothing happens. I rolled 9. I have 7 fatigue.
Fine,
well,
then.
I could take a max of 8, so I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. It doesn't have any meaningful effect anyway, but it's
The
it could screw me
necromancer
up a bit.
is obviously dead.
Yep.
Their brains are pretty much dribbling out of their nose, which means it's back round to Kato, our explorer, gun mage extraordinaire, who is going to.
Quick question. Can you spend a fate point or feat point, sorry, to get an extra action?
You can get an extra quick action. You can also do some other things. So the things you can do are boost a non-attack skill roll, heroic dodge, which reduces damage, make a quick action. You can do a parry. You can do a relentless charge. You can re-roll a failed skill or willpower roll. You can run and gun, which basically means you can move twice your speed and still shoot. Shake effects, sprint, two-fister. Character can fight with a weapon in each hand, or walk it off, which is you gain some health. So you can get an extra quick action, which I don't know how useful that is for you.
Not really.
No.
Okay, then I'm going to shoot at this one right here. Why don't you click it? Oh, because I clicked on the wrong tool. This guy. And I've got the benefits of spell on me, but I'm going to be using accuracy, brutal, and thunderbolt again, or thunderstrike again.
So the whole shebang on loading up a rune bullet with literally every spell that could blast it apart.
Well, not with Black Penny. I mean, that one would. All right. Rolling 4 dice, dropping the lowest.
All the good stuff packed into one bullet.
That is a lot. That's pretty good. That's
That's what we like to hear.
17 plus.
That's a hit.
That's 7. 4. And then that's a crit 2.
So it's going to get slammed away as well.
I'm hoping he'll go far enough he'll slam into his buddy back there, because that would be really cool.
That would be cool. So
Come on,
yeah,
dear.
that's another great thing in Iron Kingdoms, is that if you slam someone with an attack, they can be thrown back, and if they hit a solid object or another combatant, they get damaged as well. Which is why you get warjacks and warbeasts effectively doing bowling with their enemies.
That's 24 damage.
20. That's him dead for certain. Though he is undead, so I roll a d6 and he might not die on a 5 or 6 because he's tough. No, he's dead. You obliterate his bones, and the risen depth thrall is dead.
Well, that's good. I rolled a 1, so he didn't go flying that far.
I think Kato needs to get like a party, streamer, like the little ones that you blow, just so that every time you actually hit something, you just go every time it explodes.
And obviously you get back
Confetti.
a feat point for blowing him apart. So there are now only 2 thralls left and a single deckhand cowering behind the boxes.
Quick action, reload the pistol.
Yep. Which means it's now round to the thralls. This one...
Deckhand. There's the one remaining.
Oh,
deckhand.
there's a deckhand as well. So which deckhand? Oh, the one behind the boxes. Yeah, he's going to... who am I going to shoot against? He's going to shoot at... let's see. He's going to shoot at the wizard this time. At the arcanist
Boo
this
hiss.
time.
No,
Boo hiss.
I'm but an innocent wizard.
What's your defense?
It is 13.
13. So that's still a miss. It's still a miss. The bullet goes whizzing past your head, and he begins to reload it. Then the thralls. Let's see. This thrall here is going to move into combat with Zacharias, and is going to swing the. As it does so, it's left behind because as it got up, it doesn't have a sword. It doesn't have pistol. It has no mind to use those things, and instead just claws at you. Groaning as it stumbles and shambles towards you. What's your defense?
It would be 12.
No, completely missed you. I rolled a double one. Excellent. And this one here is going to, he's going to charge into, I guess he's going to charge into Fragget down here. Because that's more than 3 inches to get there. Yep. So that means he gets a bonus to the attack roll. What's your defense?
10.
That's a hit. And bonus to the damage. What's your armor again? 13. Okay, so 13. That's 10. That's 16. So that's 3 points of damage on your 2.
Okay. My 2's already full,
so that goes over to the next
all
one,
the way through to my 5.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to. When can we spend feat points?
Oh, you can spend a feat point to do a heroic dodge, and you can suffer half the damage on an attack.
Well, actually, I was wondering if I could spend a feat point to regain vitality using my revitalize.
Yeah, you could have done that in your turn quite happily as well.
Oh, I didn't need to do it in my turn. That's why I was asking if I could spend it now to boost myself back up. But it's about to be my turn anyway.
You can do it whenever you want. It's kind of quite responsive. Yeah.
Revitalize says during your turn, but it's specific on that one.
I'll wait then. I'll take the damage. That was 3 damage to my 5,
and I think that's everything that can attack because deckhands are dead. There's only 1 deckhand left, and there's 2 thralls, which means it's now Zacharias. You have this moaning dead body in front of you, glowing green eyes with the necromantic energies that still imbue it and keep it moving and shambling.
I'm gonna stab it with my sword.
Yeah, that's about all you can do.
Can I try to shift around to backstab, or is that not doable in this situation?
You could move around to do so.
Yeah, let's
I think
just do that.
if you do that, you get backstabbing. Do you get it in the same turn? I think it's the next turn.
If you leave their front arc.
They free strike you.
Yeah, they free strike if you leave their front arc. Yeah. That's the rule.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to fight in front.
I'll just fend it off with my sword. Help! Help!
Help! I've got 2 over here.
If only I was any good at shooting into engagements.
I got an 11.
That's a hit.
All right. Followed by a 10.
That's not enough, no.
No, not very good rolls, but that's okay.
Okay. And that leaves us with... is that everyone done?
That's everyone done for that turn, yeah.
So it's back round to Fragget then. You've got this thrall behind you, and you've also got Seabreaker ahead of you that you're shackled to.
Has my camera frozen for everyone else, or is it just me?
No, it's frozen for me as well.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second.
It's a slightly unfortunate pose you're frozen in.
If I stop my video, is that going to mess up our positioning, or?
No, it should be fine.
Boop.
It'll only be briefly.
Yeah.
There we go.
There, sorted. Yeah, okay, right. So let's go for the knifey against Mr. Seabreaker because he done goofed. 6 plus 8 is 14 to hit.
That's definitely a. Let me just check. That's definitely a hit. Yeah, that's definitely a hit.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. That's 15 on the dice plus 12. That's 27.
27. Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
27 minus 27 minus 19 is 8.
8.
Roll a d6 to see where.
The 5.
Okay, the 5. So
Hit him right in the
1,
fives.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you've taken out his intellect. With his intellect damaged, that means I can't remember what intellect being down is. It's on one of the sheets somewhere.
-2 death and cannot upkeep spells.
There we go. -2 defense. That makes him easier to hit. Great.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm going to spend a feat point to heal myself up 7 immediately.
Wow. Okay.
Because troll vitality. Is he still up?
Of course, he's still standing.
Not for long.
There we go.
Okay, that is a 10 this time, but that's a pair of 2s, which means I need him to make a will roll versus 18.
No, you knock him out again.
Great. Okay, and then damage against him.
Go on, roll.
6, 9, 21 damage.
21 minus his armor of 19 is therefore 2.
Yep.
Roll d6 where?
The 2.
Okay, that's his physique down as well, which means minus something. Amazing.
-2 strength.
Yeah. And yeah, he's knocked out. And given the situation, that's what else are you gonna do? Are you gonna?
What is there a limit on how many feat points you can spend in a turn?
You can have a max of 3, obviously, so that's a limit. But I don't know that there is actually any further limitation.
I don't think there is a
than that.
limit. No.
Okay, then I'm going to spend an additional feat point to do my backswing, which means I get once per turn. I can spend a feat point to perform 1 additional melee attack.
Right.
Oh God.
And this is to the one that's behind. Well,
I've turned my facing,
you
so
would
I've
have
got the
turned
one
your
either side of
facing.
me.
Yeah. Okay.
It says you can spend as many feat points during your turn as you
Brilliant.
Sweet. Okay. So that's 8 on the dice plus 6 is 14 to hit.
He's a hit.
And then 9, 21 damage to the thrall.
Yeah, and I roll d6. The thrall gets thrown back from you by this smashing attack that you make, but as it crumples on the deck, shambles back up onto its feet.
Oh, you bastard! You're hard, are you? It was in the 5.
Yeah, they don't have spirals on those because they're basic kind of minions.
Okay. Right.
And I think what we're going to do to just expedite the end of this is with Seabreaker down, knocked out, you quickly clamp his hands together, and when he comes to, is clearly bound, and
versus the strength
more
20
than obvious
manacle.
in this with what's going on. Like the other remaining thralls will clearly be blasted apart by the combined magics of our gun mage and arcanist, leaving one poor terrified deckhand behind a box going, I give up. I was doing it for the money. I didn't realise he was a necromancer.
Oi! Where's the food? I'm starving.
There might be some down below deck. Trust me. I know. I don't know anything of what they're doing. We just had to steal a box, and then and get out of there.
Where's the box?
It's below deck.
The kid?
It's below deck. The kid?
Yeah.
Oi.
Are you keeping a family here?
No.
No, I think we ran into the real necromancer here, not the ones who are saying they are such things, possibly.
Right, I don't want to alarm anyone, but that means we've probably got about half an hour to find a kid
Yes, let's.
and a wife. Otherwise, they're going dead.
Did he say the box was downstairs?
Apparently.
Yes. So you're saying you're. What do you mean, kid? You're working with Rourke, aren't you?
Yep. His wife and child.
He's not married.
Oh,
You
son of a
He
bitch.
what?
thought the Thamorite story seemed a little bit ropey.
Yeah, everyone knows Thamrites.
And trust me, from what I know, if it's right with what that weird, I guess he's a that Thamorite. It seems. Don't open that box. Trust me. Please
What's
don't.
in the
open-
box?
Now I want to open it.
What's in
What's
the
in the
Please,
box?
I beg you not to.
All right, let's just sink it.
We were.
Let's get our hands on the box first.
You go
I'm
below
gonna head
deck
down.
then, yeah.
Find the fucking thing. I'm gonna ask for Kato to come with me because I want the bloody gun. We got to keep the Ogren controlled above, but I want the gun mage by my side down below in the cramped quarters in case there's any bugger down there with a club waiting to jump out.
Are you going to take the deckhand with you as well, just so he can show you where the box is?
If necessary, yes.
I think, yeah.
I've
Standing
got
back
some rope.
with the revolver pointed at
Yeah,
him.
you've got him bound and everything.
Oh, right,
and
yeah. In that case,
you take him down with you into the bowels of this boat, which it's there's various boxes and goods in there, and he eventually directs you to this solid metal lockbox. It's in there. Trust me, you don't open it. There's something just wrong about it.
Well, with all due respect, sir, you were working as a hired hand for a necromancer, so why would I trust you?
Because I'm not going to get paid at this rate, so there's and I don't want to lose my head.
Let's get this thing out in the open air at least. If it's portable by myself, I'll pick it up. Otherwise, I'll ask Kato to give me a hand, and we'll see if we can get the damn thing on.
It's about that kind of size.
Well, Finch isn't exactly made of muscles. In fact, quite the opposite. So I'm probably going to need a hand getting this thing up. Get it out onto the deck and plonk it down.
Okay. There is obviously a lock on it. Do you want to open it?
Oh, I kind of want to, but I don't know. I look around everyone like, I want to open this box.
I mean,
We don't have a key, do we?
Rourke, listen. Rourke lied about his wife and kid. He's probably lying about what's in the box.
Right. It falls
Probably
to
just a
me
bunch of gold
to be what I can only imagine other people would be the voice of reason. So, Finch, pass me the box.
One moment. Before we dispose of this one way or another, what's going to come back on us?
No,
And
I'm
any
not going
group
to
we take
dispose
out.
it. I just don't trust the three of you to be holding
Right.
on to it. Because I can
Okay,
see
fine.
Kato's eyes are glowing and
Right.
Zach...
I'll push it over to. I'll
Right.
push it so Brad can pick it up because fucking
Yeah.
am I holding it?
I will bind it with rope and sort of have it over a shoulder so it's bound on my back.
What are we doing with this thing?
Hold on. I just realized something. If he lied to us and we're not acting in the middle of the law, did he
Then
just
we have.
rob a ship in the middle of the harbor in a rather
Yes.
noisy fashion?
I mean, to be
Well-
totally fair, these boys actually were a gang. So
Yeah, I think we're okay.
I mean, there
We can
was a
talk our way out of
necromancer.
this. Listen, everyone. I know the Duke. It'll be okay. We'll be all right.
yeah, the word.
Well, I mean, I'll be all right. You guys might
scofflaw-
actually be screwed, but I'll be okay.
I do
word
have one other thing to say. The deckhand pipes up. We were meant to deliver this box down south. We were meant to follow the river out past Five Fingers and down to the city, to the port of Highgate, to a man called Bowden Heightley. If that's useful to you.
Does that
Well,
mean
thank
anything?
you for the detail.
I'm just now at the point doing anything I can to make sure I keep my head, if you don't
Right.
mind.
Well, what's going to happen is tomorrow, in fact, maybe in about half an hour, actually, thinking on it, a man named Lucian is going to come over here because there's a gang that ran these.
Yeah.
And he's going to assume control of this dock. And
Yeah.
You're probably going to want to say a lot of yes and not much no.
Hey, listen.
Otherwise, you'll be counting the fingers you don't have on a hand. and
Yeah.
Drowning.
Yeah, Fraggott's totally right. But hey, listen. What's your name? What's your name, deckhand?
He says his name is I've got to think of a name on the fly. Is Elric.
Elric. Listen, Elric. Your boss is dead. First mate's dead. Midshipmen are all dead. Seems like you got a
suggesting
promotion to captain.
He's just earned a fantastic promotion.
He's captain.
So listen, I'm just telling you, find a new crew and sail the heck out of here. And remember your friends that helped you out with this.
So, are you going to open the box?
Oh no, that thing is literally bound and on Bragg's back to make sure that no fucker opens that box.
Okay, so you're going to head back above deck?
Yes,
I figured that was on the top of the deck anyway.
You head up onto the top of the deck, and before you is Sergeant Hill. You recognise him as one of Rourke's subordinates. Gentlemen, I am here on behalf of Lieutenant Rourke. I see you have the box. Care to hand it over?
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
I'm just gonna begin wandering over to the side of the boat that the mooring lines are on, just quite casually, just wandering over there whilst Zach maintains eye contact with the lieutenant.
You're just nonchalantly carrying the object everyone wants.
Yeah, that's correct.
No, I'm not attempting to be nonchalant. Bragg can't do that. He's 7.5 feet tall and 400 pounds.
Sergeant Hill is there with a number of the Corvus City Watch, and there is a sudden commotion from behind of them. Approaching is
that's a problem.
Priest, a priest of Morrow, who walks
this
forward.
day couldn't get any fucking worse, could it?
with a number of a number of knights and members, and you see quite. I would say, Finch, you notice that emblazoned upon some of these gentlemen and ladies and warriors is the emblem of the Order of the Illumination.
Oh, perfect. Great.
I am Father Dumas. I am here on behalf of the Cathedral of Corvus and of the Order of Illumination. Hand over that box to us. It is clearly of Thamorite and, we believe, Crixian technology, and thus blasphemous.
Father, am I glad to see you.
Enough
There's
from
something
you.
going on
I will
here.
deal with you in due course. He then turns to Sergeant Hill. Bring forward Rourke. And Rourke is brought forward in shackles.
Good. Great.
Those of you of the City Watch who wish to see yourselves not hung, arrest Sergeant Hill, and he also points to some other members of the City Watch. I want them arrested for treason and high heresy.
Oh my gosh, they were the Thamorites the entire time, Zacharias says aloud.
The Thamorite was within us all along. I'm not saying that.
When people say that, that's the cue for them to try to get it out with hot pokers.
Master Bragg, if you hand over the case, we will deal with it in the
I'm just
appropriate
going
manner.
to turn and look at
Holy crap.
Zach and
Even-
Kato and Finch.
Finch
Yeah.
is nodding.
I
big
don't know.
We all
nods.
nod. We all nod. Also, geez, even the church has heard of Bragg? Holy smokes. This guy's popular.
Well,
They have now.
what tends to happen is on a Sunday, I get into a little ring with another big man, and we just punch each other, and eventually
Even
one
the
of us
church
falls over. But a surprising amount of priests are there just to make sure everything's on the level.
Okay.
All right, Father, where do you want it?
You have it handed over to members of the Order of Illumination, some guards who are obviously in some very sturdy armor, and they are holding it with. They literally put chains around it and lift it up, so no one actually has to touch the box.
Bragg had the right idea in the first place by wrapping chains around it.
And
Genius, stroke him.
you are informed that Rourke is actually a mad, Thamorite cultist, which has only just been
Thamorites.
revealed
They get everywhere.
by the work of the investigators of the Order of Illumination. Father Dumas then, with everything now quiet on board the ship and on board the boat, he has another matter he brings forward. We believe Rourke was working for someone else, that he was shipping this item somewhere, but not to the Crixians.
Yes. Yeah, we got some information from this very great captain of this ship right here, which could lead us to the buyer.
And the identity of this buyer is?
Zacharias repeats the name that the deckhands told us.
So it's
Bowden
Bowden
Hightley. Highgate.
I've heard of him. He was a arcanist, or at least was a student at the university here. I've not heard that. He's been missing for some time. We've heard that he may have gotten involved in such things. He was apparently sighted in the port of Highgate. And if this item was to be shipped there, I would like to employ you on behalf of the Order of the Illumination to investigate this matter further. You will be appropriately compensated for your work, unlike what Rourke was promising you. And we will charter you a ship immediately.
Well, we have a ship right here, actually.
It's more of a barge. It's not very
This
large.
barge
No,
won't get you there quickly.
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to help this guy out.
You will have passage by boat by train and then by boat down to Highgate, and from there, you should try and hunt down Bowden as quickly as possible.
And what should we do with him if we find him?
You are to apprehend him and bring him back to the Order of Illumination, either here or or take him to Caspia. Though I think bringing him back to Corvus would be better.
Tangent, I suppose. Do you know anything about how the alchemist Torm came to be in possession of this much-desired box of Crixian technology in the first place?
It is a good question. We think there are possibly other people involved. We suspect Bowden may be in the employ of other agents, maybe Crixians or others that we have yet to identify. This is the reason why I want you to perform these duties for us. If we were to mobilize our own agents of the Order, it might
diplomatic incident.
Less that we may.
They're more
well
likely
have,
to see you coming.
Yes, our agents are known to those who we're hunting. You, it seems, well, you move in different circles.
Yes, we do.
And with that, we're going to end that session there. I know it went on a little bit because I wanted to conclude that introduction bit of scenario. Everyone can get, let's see, 1, 2. Everyone can have 3 experience points.
Woohoo.
Nice.
And
Is that enough to get us on the chart of XP, or is that stepping still?
I think it might get you up the first step.
It does, yes. XP total plus 2 occupational skills.
Yeah.
We can be better at things that aren't murdering people.
Yeah. And then we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. So I hope you've enjoyed this first session. I mean, we're still just trying to get back into it, but you get the idea of it. We will see what we do with our Roll20 little maps, how we might share them on the stream, because I don't know how interesting or boring that can be, but we'll consider that. Obviously, if you enjoy this and you want to follow some other stuff, obviously follow Dark Days Radio, follow Gehenna Gaming also on Twitch, follow Onyx Path on Twitch because there's lots of stream games of wonderful Chronicles of Darkness, World of Darkness, and things like Trinity, Aberrant Adventure is currently on Kickstarter.
It is, yes, and it's doing very well.
Sweet.
And follow obviously for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay would be normally in next week, but I think is being skipped that week because of Easter.
We're skipping a week.
And obviously follow the podcast, www.darker-days.org, and you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course there is our Discord where you could talk about why we like Iron Kingdoms and other things. And if you want to contact us, you can obviously email us and through social media. Other than that, I'd like to thank everyone for taking part in this first session and kind of just getting to grips with it. I mean, this is the introductory Fools Rush In scenario, so I was trying to like match it because it says like if you've got certain characters which are the pre-gens, and like the pre-gens had all this like they do forensic science and they do this, and it's like oh, this party has none of this, but they have good guns. And stuff. So, yeah, we'll be moving into the proper Immortality plotline next session. So, other than that, we will say goodbye and we'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
And we.